Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto kills Sakura Chunin exams part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. The large forest that was known for its high death rate was strangely silent, as if holding its breath. The sound of battle earlier that made the sudden silence almost deafening as no one moved. Kin grinned from behind Sakura. Her soft pink tresses snared angrily in the Odo Kunoichi's grasp. "Your hair is so shiny and soft," she sneered. "If you had time to care for your hair, maybe you should have been training more." A hard tug forced a pained cry from the pinkette's lips as Kin carelessly yanked it about, driving the point home. "Trying to be sexy?" she teased again before addressing her comrade. "Zaka, kill that Sasuke guy in front of this pig." Zaka's smirk was ever present. "Sounds good." "Hey now," Dozu began. "No, move, Sakura." Sakura drew forward. "I won't let you dash." "Don't move." Another painful yank forced the smaller girl to cry out again. As the weight of the situation slammed into Sakura, her vision began to blur. "I can't move." Her nails dug into the dirt as tears dropped down onto her scratched-up knees. Her back hunched as the tears escaped her eyes that were clenched shut. She tried hard not to let them see her like this. They'd hurt her new friend and were planning on killing her crush, and yet she still couldn't find the strength to do something about it. "I'm being a nuisance again." She thought about her teammates that relied on her and Lee, who had risked his life for her. Someone unworthy of such an act. "I've always been protected, but the moment they needed me most, I failed." She pleaded internally for this to all be another dream. For her to wake up having fallen asleep on guard duty. Dangerous and stupid, but this would have all been a. "All right. Let's do this." Her stomach dropped and bile burned at her throat, a shock running through her system. "No! Cammy, please! No!" Zaka took his time walking past her as her mind raced to come up with a plan. Any plan. "Get free, get free!" her mind screamed at her repeated. Before she knew what she was doing, she had drawn a kunai. She clenched her eyes shut as she tried to build what courage she had to move, to take that final step like throwing the first punch. "It's pointless," Kin hissed. "That won't work on me." A fire stirred in her belly as rational thought drifted further from her. Managing to look at her captor over her shoulder, Sakura gave an uncharacteristically smug smirk. "It's not meant for you," she taunted. "What?" Kin's eyes widened in shock as the girl before her reached behind with the kunai and cut clean through her hair. Light. That was the first thing Sakura could think of. It was so much lighter now. Kin fell away with the rest of her hair. Her bangs swayed in front of her eyes and she heard her hitai land somewhere behind her, but she wasn't focused on that. Her heart pounded in her chest, her blood pumping through her veins. She stood as her teammates appeared in her mind, knowing they were relying on her. She saw their backs and she saw her weakness as clear as day. Even Naruto, who she lectured time and time again, was leagues in front of her. Her eyes landed on Lee as he struggled to keep consciousness, and her heart ached with guilt. The three boys flashed so vividly in front of her eyes and her hands clenched. Everything else left her mind, but the knowledge of who were her enemies and that her allies needed her now more than ever. "Please," she whispered inwardly. "Watch my back this time." As Sakura-san, Lee murmured before he lost consciousness. "Kin, kill her!" Her hands moved as fast as they could as she could. She had no plan. Something completely uncharacteristic of her, but the thought of her teammates forced her into action. From behind, she felt Kin barge her with Simban before she disappeared in a puff of smoke, only to be replaced with a log. She ran at Zaka with her kunais drawn and wasn't surprised when he sent them back her way. Instinct drove her as she stopped and performed another substitution. The replacement disappeared and she came down on him from above, already forming the seals for another kawarimi. "I'm telling you, it's not going to work more than 2 or 3 times, he smirked. "It's pathetic that this is the only way I know how to fight back," Sakura scolded herself. "This is good enough for you," he insisted as he tossed 4 kunai at her. Blocking them as best she could, she was pierced in her abdomen, her left shin, her right thigh and her arm that had blocked her face. The adrenaline blocked out most of the pain, but knowing she actually took kunai into her body almost left her mind in a state of shock. "Now where is she?" Pulling the kunai from her abdomen, she finished her descent when she saw Zaka look up at her in surprise. "I've got you now, you bastard!" She was aiming for his head, but his arms came up and blocked it. Driving it deep, she used the only weapon she had left: her teeth. Pinning him to the ground, she latched onto his left arm. No longer than a second later was he beating at her head, trying to get her off. Blood was leaking from her head now, and nausea hit her in waves, and she knew she had a concussion or two. With her eyes clenched shut, she didn't want to see the dark spots that were probably blurring her vision. In the darkness behind her lids, she could see her boys more clearly. "I'm so sorry," she cried. "No, I have to." Blood filled her mouth, and her body's natural reaction coughed it up. With that moment of weakness, Zaka managed to kick her off him. She landed in a heap. She had nothing left. She had failed. Her eyes stared dully at the ground as a curtain of hair allowed her this moment for herself. Delving deep inside her, she mustered all the strength she could to sit up. Her pupils were still dilated, and her gaze unwavering. "I have to protect them." "You bitch!" he screamed at her, his hands coming up again for another sound blast. Her eyes caught something blonde in the bushes, and her eyes trained in on it. Shock filled her when she saw her rival and ex-best friend, Ino, and her teammates. Her eyes widened, just as Ino's had when she noticed Sakura had seen her. The surprise was short-lived as the soundwave hit her, throwing her back and through several trees until one finally stopped her. She dropped like a ragdoll, landing painfully on its large roots and rolling. "Sakura!" she heard someone call. She looked up to see Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji running to her. Her bruised and beaten face managed a smile as she looked up at her, looking every bit like the lost child Ino remembered her to be. "Aino," she whispered, reaching for her. The sound of footsteps crunching on the leaves halted Ino in her place. They hid behind one of the trees as Zaka came looking for her broken body. Several ribs had broken due to the impact her body made of the trees. She couldn't bear to move from the pain shooting through her body, but even so, she continued to reach for Ino. "Aino," she begged. Help me." Tears fell from Ino's eyes as her hand covered her mouth. Her legs shook in fear as Zaka took his time looking for Sakura, and slowly she began to shake her head. "Ino?" Sakura asked again. "I am so sorry," she whimpered. Then she turned and ran, dragging her teammates with her. Sakura's heart stuttered as an icy chill came over her. "Ino?" Sakura called. "Ino, come back." The sudden realization shook her to the core as Team 10 got further and further away. The tears were falling faster, mixing with the blood on her face and stinging the open cuts. Her best friend had abandoned her. "Found you." Sakura looked up weakly. She came face to face with the cruel smirk on Zaka's face. "So you can still move that broken body of yours, huh?" he taunted, bent over her, mocking her. Sakura glared up at him as anger pooled in the pit of her stomach. What's wrong? I know, you're missing your teammates, right? Well, let's take you back so you can watch them die." He dragged her back, her body screaming at her, and the pain almost knocked her unconscious. "What, no fighting back? You were so determined before." "Before my friends walked away from me." Everything around her blurred in and out of focus. She had probably lost too much blood. Her eyes lulled up to look at the sun barely peeking through the thick canopy. Flashes of her life appeared before her eyes, of time wasted spent on her appearance and petty rivalry that could have been used to better herself as a kunoichi. Maybe, if she hadn't been so focused on her looks, she wouldn't be in this predicament. But it was too late now. She was thrown carelessly back into the clearing, tumbling like a ragdoll. Despite the anger and hatred burning in her stomach, her body simply couldn't move. "I hate you," Sakura managed out. "Yeah?" Zaka laughed. "Grab the blonde kin." Sakura let out a shuddering breath as she rolled onto her side to see Kin moving towards Naruto and Sasuke. "No," she whispered. Her arms moved to drag her, but she barely moved an inch. Slowly she dragged herself little by little. "Leave them alone," Sakura spoke. Her arms shook with exhaustion. "You're a determined little thing, aren't you?" A swift kick was delivered to her stomach, sending her rolling. "What have we here?" a voice called. "And who the hell are you?" "Hyuga Niji, and it looks like someone used our teammate as a punching bag. No one does that and gets away with it." Sakura didn't pause in her slow progression towards her teammates. "Stop right there, Pinky!" A foot stepped down onto her head, forcing her face into the hard, unforgiving dirt. No more playing around, Tenten. Full power. There was a moment of silence, and Sakura probably would have looked up if Kin didn't have her foot on the back of her head. What's wrong, Niji? Please help me, Sakura thought to herself. Are you going to stay up there all day, or are you going to come down here and do something about it? Actually, it looks like it might have been taken out of my hands. What is he? Then she felt it. Such evil chakra coming from Sasuke. Was he waking? Please let him be okay. Kin's foot lightened up and Sakura heard her stagger away. She managed to lift her head to see Sasuke standing, purple chakra swirling around him like a cloak. His Sharingan glared from behind his bangs as black marks covered half his face. Sakura, who did this to you? Sakura just reached for him weakly as tears fell from her eyes. As Sasuke-kun, help me. Sasuke walked to her, his eyes taking in every scratch, every bruise, every tear. Who was it? She couldn't help the sob as Sasuke touched her outstretched hand with his index and middle. He'd never done that before, but she took it as a sign of comfort. She may be wrong, but she needed to believe it. Sakura, tell me. Which one of these people did this to you? That'd be me. Sasuke's eyes instantly locked onto Zaku, turning to face him. His eyes instantly noticed the blood, and he knew without a doubt that it was Sakura's. The anger triggered his markings, causing them to spread further across his face. Dozu! What's wrong? You're not getting cold feet, are you? No. Zaka. You don't understand. Watch this, I'll take care of the bunch of them in one fell swoop. The world spun as Sasuke moved both her and Naruto to safety. He didn't put her down, knowing she couldn't just be dropped like their teammate. Sakura whimpered from the stabbing pain of broken bones and shuddered in Sasuke's arms. Look at that. Blew them all away. Not quite. She heard a grunt of pain from Zaku as he was sent flying. Sasuke then laid her down gently beside Naruto. You're safe now. More tears fell as she sobbed quietly. Thank you? Sasuke nodded and stood, but Sakura grabbed his arm. He looked back at her. And make them pee, she managed out. Sasuke nodded again and turned back to Zaku. She heard the fighting and knew Sasuke would take care of them. She knew she should stop him from possibly killing them, but she held no sympathy for these monsters. She managed to look over and see Sasuke had caught Zaku by his arms behind his back. You seem very proud of these of yours, Sasuke smirked, adding a little more pressure. You must be very attached to them. No! What are you doing? Pulling harder, she heard the sickening pop that told her his arms were just pulled from their sockets. Instead of feeling horror at what Sasuke had done or disgust from such actions, a weak smile came to her lips. Zaku felt like a sack of potatoes, a sight Sakura found a small delight in. It's wrong to take joy in someone else's pain. He was going to hurt the others, her inner spoke up, louder than it had been in some time. They hurt Lee. They deserve this. Ino abandoned us, now Sasuke and Naruto are all that matter. But still. Why should we bother trying to be the idealistic kunoichi when our own comrades left us being? Remember Kakashi's words? Those that break the rules are scum. But those that abandon their friends are worse than scum. We might enjoy others' pain, but we would never ditch our friends when they needed us. Not like Ino. Not like Ino. Sakura focused back on Sasuke to see him going for Dosu. Moving her hands slowly through the signs, she made her decision. Kin watched as Sasuke tore her teammates apart before turning on her. Looks like you're the only one left. She screamed and took off in the other direction. Screw this. If he catches me, I'm dead. Her foot caught on a tree root, causing her to trip over. As she quickly rolled onto her back, she saw Sasuke standing before her. She went to scream again, but his hand wrapped around her throat, constricting. She struggled as he all but crushed her windpipe. She scratched at his hands as she stared up into his Sharingan with fearful eyes. Choked breath and whimpers were the only sounds able to leave her throat as black spots began to invade her vision. Then before her eyes, the forest around them began to waver and melt. Genjutsu. But who dash? Her melting surroundings revealed that she hadn't even left the clearing, though she was indeed on her back. But instead of Sasuke above her, glaring at her with his spinning Sharingan, emerald green stared deep with hatred burning bright within. Why you? Sakura's hands tightened even more as she felt the last of her energy and chakra leave her. She felt the windpipe in her hands give way and she watched as Kin suffocated slowly, and the light began to fade from her eyes. Sakura. Sakura looked over to Sasuke stood beside her, watching her with the marks still painting his skin. His eyes studied her and the woman beneath her. He had sensed the genjutsu but had originally thought Kin had cast it on Sakura while he was taking out Dosu, but when he turned to them, he saw his teammate strangling the other kunoichi. Sasuke picked up Sakura, who was beginning to lose consciousness. She looked at Sasuke through her long dark lashes and smiled. No one else, she murmured. What do you mean? She just smiled and let oblivion take her. There was a thud nearby, and when Sasuke turned, it was another Leaf-nin. I'm Tenten. Don't mind me, she said, smiling with her hands up defensively. I'm just grabbing my teammate. Only then did Sasuke notice the green-clad ninja, beaten and lying unconscious. What happened while I was out? Sasuke asked. I'm guessing your teammate was watching over you and the blonde guy while you were unconscious and then was attacked by the 3 Otonin. Lee stepped in and went down, and before we got here, we saw Sakura take quite a beating before you woke up. Sasuke looked up, sensing eyes on him to find Neji watching him from above. With a nod, Sasuke walked over to Naruto and gave him a swift kick to the head. Dobe, wake up. Naruto grabbed at his head, cursing as he opened his eyes. Team, what the hell? As Naruto became fully aware, he instantly noticed the pinkette the Uchiha held. What the hell happened while I was asleep? He asked. Later, Sasuke cut him off. We need to find water so we can clean and bandage Sakura's wounds. Naruto nodded. Oh, okay. The 2 Konoha teams disappeared, leaving the 3 dead Otonin bodies to the will of the forest. It didn't take long for Sasuke to find a river. Gather some water, Naruto. Naruto nodded and pulled out their bottles. Sasuke looked through what packs they had, but there were no bandages left. Sasuke looked at Sakura's ripped and torn dress. Naruto returned with their bottles and took his place on the other side of Sakura. So what do we do? Naruto asked. We have to remove her clothes to clean her wounds. Naruto blushed and looked away. I don't think we should. Sasuke glared at Naruto. So we should just leave her wounds to get infected because you can't see a girl semi-naked? It's not just any girl, team, Naruto growled. Sasuke looked back down at the unconscious girl. We have to do it. She might even bleed to death if the wounds aren't bandaged. Where are the bandages? There are none. So now what? Let's just see her wounds first. Sakura raised his kunai, knowing her dress was most likely stuck to her wounds considering the amount of blood he got on his arms from just carrying her. Slowly, he cut away her dress. Sakura stirred from the pain that irritated her wounds but didn't wake. Once the dress was removed, the extent of her wounds was revealed. Multiple stab wounds, scratches and mass bruising around the upper torso from broken ribs. What happened? Naruto murmured softly. We were asleep for too long, Sasuke replied. He reached into his back to retrieve the cloths that were on their foreheads when he woke up. Naruto poured water onto the cloths and gently, the 2 began cleaning away the blood and dabbing at her wounds carefully. Sakura twitched and squirmed uncomfortably every so often, and when she did, the boys would pause and wait for her to settle down before continuing. Once the wounds were clean, Naruto asked again. How are we supposed to wrap her wounds? Sasuke looked over at the discarded strips of her dress. We'll wash her dress pieces to use as bandages. What is she going to wear? Your jacket. Naruto nodded and took the ripped fabric to the river to wash it before returning. Using a small katan jutsu, Sasuke lit a fire where the dress pieces were placed to dry and where Sakura could stay warm. Go catch some fish. Instead of getting angry about being ordered around, he listened and went back to the river. Sasuke looked back to Sakura, whose face was all bruised and swollen. My, what have we here? Sasuke spun around, kunais drawn, only to see the shinobi from before the exams began. Kabuto, right? That's right. What are you doing here? It really isn't a smart idea to light a fire. The smoke gives away your position. Shit. He hadn't thought of that. Oh, your teammate looks quite bad. Sasuke shifted so he was standing in between the 2, blocking Kabuto's view of the pinkette. I could help her. I know medical ninjutsu. Sasuke hesitated but didn't drop his guard. Why should I trust you? You don't have to. But from the looks of it, she has a serious concussion. She might not wake up. Sasuke looked down at Sakura. He looked back at Kabuto, only to see Naruto a few meters behind him, a couple of fish tucked under one arm and a kunai ready in his free hand. Okay, but don't try anything. Kabuto walked towards the unconscious female and bent down. His hands lit up green as he inspected her. Yes, definitely a concussion. 2, in fact. Thankfully, they're not too bad. Sasuke allowed some of the weight on his shoulders to ease away. Unfortunately, her ribs are another story. You have to set them, Sasuke spoke. Kabuto nodded. Thankfully, they haven't begun to heal, so I just have to gently move them into place, but one of them has pierced her lung. She has quite a bit of blood in her lungs. I'm surprised you hadn't heard her rasping. He had, but he didn't know what it meant. You're going to need to hold her down. This will be very uncomfortable for her. Sasuke nodded and moved to Sakura, holding on to her shoulders. As Kabuto poked and pushed at her ribs, Sakura struggled to get away while still out. She let out gasps and whimpers and whines until Kabuto fixed the last rib. There. All done. Thank you, Naruto said, finally speaking up. Anything for a fellow Leaf-nin. Now, I'm assuming you don't have a pair of scrolls yet. The two looked at each other. We were planning on just waiting this out, Sasuke spoke. Sakura was too badly injured. Now she's fine. She should wake in a few hours. There's nothing I can do for her swelling, so her ribs and face will remain a tender area for a couple of days. You might be able to make it to the tower and get another scroll in time. Sasuke and Naruto shared another look. What do you think, Naruto? I don't know. As much as I want to pass, I think we should worry more about Sakura-chan. He looked at Kabuto. Thanks for healing her, but I think I'd feel better knowing she saw an actual medical ninja. Sasuke nodded and looked back. No, came a soft murmur. They looked over to Sakura, whose eyes were slightly open. She coughed a little, trying to clear the liquid she could feel in her lungs. Naruto quickly moved to her, but it was Sasuke who turned her onto her side carefully so she could cough up the blood. Sakura-chan, Naruto called, concern coloring his voice. We should keep going, she winced. But you should. Sakura slowly shook her head. I don't want to give up just yet. I want to continue. But why? Sasuke asked. Why push yourself so hard? You've done enough just by keeping Naruto and I alive. Sakura's eyes fluttered shut again. I don't want to be left behind. Unsure of what she meant, Sasuke looked to Naruto. Please, she whispered. Naruto nodded. Okay, Sakura-chan. But just let us know when you want to leave. We can try again next year. Sakura smiled. We had to cut your dress off, Sakura, Sasuke told her. So you are going to have to wear Naruto's jacket. She just nodded and looked over to them with tired eyes. Sasuke helped Sakura to sit up. We need to wrap my chest, she said. Sasuke pulled back in surprise before looking away quickly. I have actual bandages. I could do it, Kabuto offered. Sakura opened her eyes to look at him with calculating eyes. No, we'll do it, Sasuke interjected. Naruto, you hold Sakura in your lap while I wrap her chest. Wait, team, I don't think. Just do it, though. Naruto sat down and held Sakura between his outstretched legs. She leant back against him weakly. Kabuto handed Sasuke the roll of bandages, watching in amusement. Sakura cut her bra off, instead of going through the pain of raising her arms to remove it. Sasuke tried to focus on her collar, but he needed to see what he was doing. Naruto stared up at the fluffy white clouds, trying to think of anything else but the topless pinkette in his lap. Sandaime. Kakashi. Iruka. That creepy snake guy. Oh god, her skin looks really soft. Naruto? Why yes, Sakura-chan? That better be a scroll. Alright. Hearing them, Sasuke smirked and relaxed a little as he finished bandaging her chest. Once done, Sasuke walked over to Naruto's pile of clothes he had removed to go fishing and walked back with his orange jacket. I hate orange. Hey, don't knock it till you try it. Sasuke slipped the orange jacket around her shoulder, helping her slip her arms into it before zipping it up. Thank you, Sasuke, Naruto. And no problem. Sasuke nodded. He crouched in front of her. Here, jump on. Sakura watched him for a moment before leaning forward. Naruto helped her onto Sasuke's back, and she wrapped her arms around his neck in a gentle hold. Once Naruto grabbed their packs, they were gone. The fish forgotten by the dying fire. They had been traveling for a while now. Sakura had been quick to fall asleep while Kabuto was explaining where they were going and why. Sasuke made sure that his leaps and strides were as smooth as could be so as not jerk Sakura about too much. His mind drifted off to when he had Sakura take that woman's life. He sensed a small amount of chakra in her arms, giving her the strength she needed to crush her throat. Sakura might one day be able to use that to her advantage. Sasuke thought about trying to do that himself, but his chakra control wasn't anywhere near as amazing as Sakura's. She also showed an affinity for genjutsu. She held a lot of potential if she didn't squander it by caring for useless things like boys or dating. Maybe this exam would be her wake-up call. And seeing her kill that kunoichi? He had never seen such anger on her face before, such drive. This was definitely a wake-up call. She might make a strong kunoichi yet. Soon, night was upon them. Once Kabuto confirmed the tower was just before them, they silently headed for it. It was hard trying to remain silent with Sakura on his back, but he tried to see it as training. Slowly, Sakura stirred. She blinked a little, resting her cheek on Sasuke's shoulder as she looked around slowly. He felt her stiffen slightly. What's wrong? Sasuke asked. Genjutsu. Sasuke stopped, causing Kabuto and Naruto to come to him. What's wrong? Why did you stop? Kabuto asked. Genjutsu, Sakura repeated. Looking around, Sasuke saw it. Yes, they were caught in a genjutsu alright. The tower was no closer than the last time he checked. We've been spotted. With that, men started coming out of the trees and the ground until they were surrounded, all bearing the symbol of Amigakure. Sakura shifted and Sasuke looked at her over his shoulder. Let me down. Are you sure? Sakura nodded and Sasuke slowly slid her down. She staggered a bit from not having used her legs. They'd gone numb on her. Pins and needles were quick to follow and Sakura grabbed 2 kunai out of Sasuke's pouch. Her eyes looked around warily and for once she was proud of all the memorizing exercises she practiced at home. She might not have the Sharingan, but her eyes had always been sharper than normal. I counted 40 of them, Sakura thought to herself. Definitely clones. Water maybe? Naruto rushed ahead as usual, punching at one of them. Instead of disappearing, the part where his fist made contact turned to mush and from the hole, another began to form. What's going on here? A pulse of chakra she recognized. She looked over at Sasuke to see he had activated his Sharingan. Naruto, look out! Throwing a kunai quickly, he caught the clone's arm which had been ready to attack the unsuspecting blonde. The demented clone turned and looked at Sasuke. It raised another weapon and threw it. The attack was so obvious, Sakura knew something was wrong with Sasuke when he didn't move immediately. Her eyes widened and she quickly tackled him. Her body trembled from the familiar feeling of steel slicing through flesh. She'd been too slow to fully dodge it. Her mind wanted to shut down. It was too soon after being beaten and cut up the way she had. Icy tendrils of fear froze her blood, leaving her paralyzed above the Uchiha who was in a state of shock of his own. What's going on? Why can't I move my body? Think about something else, logic screamed at her. The kunai it felt real enough so it's no illusion. So what the hell is going on? Looking down, she spotted Sasuke's panicked expression and shakily tapped his face. Sasuke-kun, she called. Sasuke's eyes snapped to her, and she forced herself to move, feeling like a rusty machine that hadn't moved in decades. Are you alright? They asked at the same time. Nodding to one another, Sakura pulled him up. Naruto had shuffled back to provide them some cover should any decide to attack. The clones began speaking, repeating the same thing over and over. Surrender your scroll. Surrender your scroll. The fact that you got hurt by one of them means they're real bunshins. Kage bunshins are supposed to vanish once you land a good hit on them. These ones don't, Naruto spoke. So what are we dealing with? Genjutsu? I think so, Sakura spoke, nodding. But how? Your wound is real enough. They are working with the illusion, Kabuto explained. Hiding somewhere and attack us in sync with their illusion to disorient us. The plan was to hold off their attack, and slowly, Sakura slipped into a better defensive stand. The weapons started flying and they began their dangerous dance of dodging. Still recovering from her previous fight, she was already slow to begin with, though her chakra was almost half full. Sending chakra to her legs, she was able to pick up her speed. I better keep an eye on my chakra level though. I don't want to be caught with too little. But when the dodging continued with no end in sight, her mind was quick to play through strategies. If only we could take out all the clones at once and figure out where they're attacking from. But how? Her eyes caught sight of Naruto's hair as he dipped down to avoid a kunai aimed at his head. Sasuke was on the other side, ducking and diving around and away weapons. Naruto! That's it! Naruto, she called. Use Kage Bunshin to overwhelm their clones. No, don't! Kabuto yelled. Doing so will just waste chakra. You'll be doing exactly what they want you to do by wearing yourself out. If we can spontaneously take out their clones, it'll make finding them easier, Sakura explained. Naruto took a moment to realize her plan and nodded with a large grin on his face. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Suddenly, the clearing was filled with Naruto Bunshins that went for the AIM clones. Sakura moved after him with Sasuke and Kabuto following her example. Amongst the chaos, Sakura allowed herself to fall into a bush, where she switched herself out with a clone. Her clone jumped from the bush and back into the fray, but discreetly moving to Sasuke. She could see from her place that her clone tapped Sasuke's shoulder and mouthed a couple of words to him. He nodded and kept fight but was slowly inching towards Kabuto. Once he knew what was going on, Sasuke used his Sharingan to find the real Naruto and let him know of her plan. Kabuto and Sasuke managed to switch out and regroup with her in the bush, and they waited. As the sun came up, their doubles and Naruto had collapsed, and just as she guessed, their enemies appeared, mocking them clones. Sakura couldn't help the pride that swelled within her at the success of her plan. Revealing themselves, their three disappeared. Naruto delivered a powerful punch that knocked one into the others. Naruto really is something else. That chakra is incredible, Sakura thought to herself in awe. They started getting up and she sensed Naruto had almost reached his limit. Sasuke wasn't faring too well either due to using his Sharingan. Kabuto, she wasn't too sure. She still didn't trust him, but she didn't know why. Paranoid perhaps. It makes sense. Instead of letting them get up to attack again, Sakura quickly stabbed one in the thigh, one in the shoulder, and held the kunai at the last one's neck. The two that were stabbed grabbed at their wounds with a cry of pain while the last one watched her fearfully. Move and you die, she spoke firmly. He nodded slowly, eyes wide. Give us your scroll. He slowly moved, reaching for his teammate's pocket, the one who had been stabbed in the leg. She felt her mouth twitch, wanting to smile as he groaned in pain. His teammate with the kunai to his throat tried to shush him as if his whining would anger her. She couldn't deny the power she felt knowing they feared her, Harino Sakura. No one had ever feared her. At least, not before Kin. When he pulled out a heaven scroll, Sakura couldn't believe they actually did it. As the sun peeked over the horizon, they made it to the tower and Kabuto rejoined his team. They stood before their door and Sakura couldn't help but think. It was almost unbelievable how much they had changed since they entered this forest. She looked to her left at Sasuke, who had been using her as a crutch due to the mark upon his neck playing up. He looked back and nodded to her. She looked to her right at Naruto, who had his hands behind his head leisurely, scratched up and dirty. Her own clothes had even been destroyed, save for her bike pants and shoes. She still thought orange didn't suit her. But Naruto looked back and gave her a wide smile, and she felt her heart warm. They had seen her hurt those men to get what she wanted, and though they were slightly put out, they didn't turn her away or leave her behind. Instead, they chose to walk beside her. With one arm around Sasuke's waist to keep him steady, she reached out with her free hand to grasp his arm. He looked surprised as she dragged him to her and hooked her right arm with his left. Naruto laughed suddenly, causing Sakura to giggle at how stupid he looked. She heard Sasuke chuckling beside her, and as one, they entered the door before them, with Sasuke pushing with his left and Naruto pushing with his right. Time for the next part to begin. What the hell is this? Naruto called. No one's here. Sakura's eyes were immediately drawn to the scripture on the wall. Sasuke slowly pulled away. It's okay, Sakura. I can manage from here. She nodded and released Naruto too. I don't get it, what happens now? She pointed to the scripture. I think it has something to do with that. What is it? If qualities of heaven are your desire, acquire wisdom to take your mind higher. If earthly qualities are what you lack, train your body and prepare to attack. When heaven and earth are open together, the perilous path will become righteous forever. This something is the secret way that guides us from this place today. This what? Or is that a secret too? Naruto asked. There's a word missing. I'm guessing we open both the scrolls now. Sakura handed the heaven scroll to Naruto, holding the earth one herself. Naruto definitely lacks wisdom, and I need to train my body more, she thought to herself. She looked to Sasuke, who was just as tense as them. He nodded to them. Ready? Sakura asked. Here goes nothing, the blonde spoke up. Together, they opened their scrolls. What is this? It's a summoning scroll, Sasuke exclaimed. Get rid of it. Throwing the scrolls away, there was a puff of smoke. As it began to clear, they stared in shock at the shinobi waiting for them. It's you, Sasuke spoke. Iruka looked up with a smirk. Hey, he greeted. Long time no see. Iruka-sensei? Sakura wondered. It looks like you've been through a lot in this test. Sakura absent-mindedly stroked at her hair. What are you doing here, Iruka-sensei? Naruto asked. At the end of the second exam, we Chunin are meant to welcome the test takers back. I just had the good luck to be the messenger for you guys. A messenger? Naruto repeated. Iruka nodded and pulled out a watch. Looks like you guys just made it, too. Congratulations, you passed the second exam. Sakura blinked in shock. We passed. We actually passed. To celebrate, I'd like to treat you all to some Ichiraku ramen, but... Ramen! Naruto exclaimed. That's so cool. He tackled Iruka in a hug, laughing and cheering. Sakura slid to the floor, relieved. We made it, she whispered. With that sudden weight off her shoulders, she found it a lot harder to keep her eyes open. What would you have done if we opened the scrolls? Sasuke questioned, but her consciousness was drifting off. Finally, she could relax. She was safe, if only for now. She heard Iruka faintly explain the words on the wall, and even the slight dig he made at Naruto and herself. She didn't care, she just wanted to rest. Sakura? Sakura moved her head slightly, but didn't open her eyes. We're being taken to another place. She opened her eyes to Sasuke, who held a hand out to her. Her reluctance must have shown in her eyes because he sighed and pulled her up. As they were walking, Sakura suddenly paused. What if Ino made it? She wondered. What if I have to face her? Her eyes darkened angrily, her hands clenching by her sides. Sakura-chan? She looked up to see the three males looking at her. Sakura opened her mouth, but the words wouldn't come out. She hadn't yet explained what had happened to her while she was watching over them while they were out. Seeing her hesitation, Sasuke looked to Iruka. Could you give us a minute, Iruka-sensei? He watched them for a moment before nodding. Don't be too long, the next part is about to begin. It's just through that door down the end of the hall, he explained. Sasuke and Naruto nodded and turned back to Sakura once he disappeared through said door. What's going on, Sakura-chan? I need to tell you what happened while you were asleep, she spoke. Now? Sasuke asked. I'm curious to know, but do you have to tell us now? Sakura nodded. I need to get this off my chest. Sasuke slipped his hands into his pockets with a sigh and nodded. Naruto just watched her with concern. While you two were out, I set up traps and whatnot. I tried to stay up, but on the third day with no rest I dozed off. When I awoke again, the Otonin appeared. Those dead guys? Naruto asked, having woken up after everything had happened. Sakura nodded. They were after you, Sasuke, she explained, looking to the Uchiha. I was weakened from no sleep as well as being physically weak to begin with due to no proper training. I tried to fight, but they were too good. Before I could get seriously injured, Lee showed up. He had declared his affection for me and wished to prove it by protecting me, she spoke, thinking back. She teared up slightly. He was beaten badly and taken down due to Dosa's soundwave attacks and Zaka's sound blasts. I was caught by Kin, who grabbed me by the hair and said I should watch as they killed you guys. I cut my hair to free myself and attacked Zaku. I had no idea what to do, just that I couldn't give up because you two needed me for once. I tricked him with the Kawarimi while taking the hits of kunai but missed my chance at killing him. I pinned him down with my teeth in his arm, along with a kunai, but he was free enough to beat at my head. I couldn't hold on. He threw me off, and I was too weak to do anything else. That's when I saw Ino and her team. Just as I noticed them, Zaka blasted me away with his jutsu, and I went through several trees because falling onto a large tree's roots, breaking some ribs and causing some internal bruising. It was so painful, but I was happy. Ino was there. We were friends, she continued. Best friends even. She brought me out of my shell and helped me make friends. But I got caught in her shadow. She was a beautiful flower and I, still just a bud waiting to bloom. We grew up and I declared us no longer friends but rivals over the stupidest thing, but we knew we'd always be best friends, even going through all this. She was there, she could save me, I kept thinking. She came for me, but so did Zaku. I called out for her, reached for her, but she turned and ran away, dragging her team with her. She left you? Naruto asked. Sakura nodded. I kept calling, but she didn't stop running, didn't look back. Zaku found me and dragged me back to the camp by hair before throwing me down. I hated him. By this point, I was severely injured. Broken ribs, stabbed wounds, deep gashes, concussions. I was close to passing out, but it was like I'd lost a part of myself. Ino had left me to die. She abandoned me. We were always taught to help out our fellow shinobi in villages. That's the way of the Konohinin. That's the will of fire, to never give up and to protect those we hold dear to us, but she had run away. I know for a fact that I would have tried to help. Most likely failed, but I wouldn't have left her there. How many people actually follow the will of fire? Sakura asked. I started wondering, was it all a lie? Did the will of fire truly exist? I tried to get up, despite having no strength left. I tried crawling to you guys, but Kin stood on my head, forcing my face painfully into the ground. I heard Lee's teammates arrive, but then I sensed Sasuke awake. Kin moved away and I could see you. You asked me what happened and who hurt me? I asked you to help me and you comforted me before killing them, and I took pleasure in it, she admitted, ashamed. Seeing Zaku going through the pain of having his arms ripped out of their sockets filled me with joy. I hated him for the pleasure he took in my pain, so I enjoyed his. It gave me the strength I needed to finish off Kin. I caught her in a genjutsu and strangled her to death. I enjoyed ending her life too, and I'm afraid that I'll turn into a sick, twisted ninja who loves to torture people. Please don't hate me or think I'm a monster. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I. She was cut off when Naruto caught her in a hug. She stiffened in surprise, her eyes wide. Naruto embraced her tightly, hoping she felt his emotions, that she understood him. I'm sorry you had to go through that alone, Sakura-chan, he murmured comfortingly. You did your best to keep us safe and we're alive because you cared for us. I don't care if you do enjoy killing your enemies. I don't care if you enjoy seeing your enemies being hurt. You're my teammate and my friend, and you know I'd never abandon you like Ino. You may belittle me sometimes and say mean things, but you've stuck by me and I will always do the same for you. Sakura's arms wrapped around him, clutching to him as she cried. I'm so sorry, she cried. You're not a bad ninja and you're not an idiot. I take back all the mean things I've ever said to you because I was wrong. I'm the idiot and I'm the bad ninja. It's okay, Sakura-chan, Naruto murmured, patting her hair, unsure of how to properly comfort a crying girl. I don't know if the will of fire exists, she continued, sobbing. I don't even care for this village if it teaches us lies. But you too, you're all that matter to me and you're all I care about. Sakura, Sasuke spoke, and she looked up at him over Naruto's shoulder. I'll be a better teammate so that I can watch your backs. I'll train harder. We can train together so that we can get to know one another's strengths and weaknesses better. I just don't want to lose you guys. And I don't want to lose you, Sakura-chan, Naruto spoke, pulling away but keeping his hands on her arms. We can train together if that's what you want. I just want you two to be safe, she told him. We will train together then, Sasuke spoke. It might not have been much, but both Sakura and Naruto knew what he meant. We should go in now, the Uchiha acknowledged and the other two nodded. Sakura quickly wiped at her eyes, smiling to herself. Thank you, she whispered. We're a team, Naruto smiled. We're stuck with each other, Sasuke smirked. Sakura nodded, laughing softly. I don't need anyone else, she said as they walked to the end of the hall. Team 7 is it for me. Me too, Naruto grinned, throwing an arm around her shoulders. HN. Sasuke walked beside her, hands in his pockets. Let's show everyone what Team 7 can do. We might even become the new Sannin. The next who? Naruto opened the door, leading them in, followed by Sakura with Sasuke bringing up the rear. There, they saw everyone standing in rows with their team. How did everyone make it? Sakura asked softly. Sakura's eyes spotted Ino's blonde hair and her body went cold again. She bit her lip but calmed when Sasuke placed a hand on her shoulder. She's not worth it. Sakura wanted to hiss but turned her head away to take in everyone else. At least Lee made it. I'm so glad. Welcome, Team 7, the Hokage greeted. It seems you guys just made it. Naruto gave him the thumbs up as he took his place between Hinata's team and Niji's. Standing beside Lee, Sakura nudged him. Looking at her, Lee smiled. I'm glad you made it, Sakura whispered to him. Same here, Sakura-san. How are you feeling? Better, she said, smiling. Of course, with my team around, yours is doomed to failure, she caught Guy's words. Sakura glared at him but Lee poked her shoulder. Ignore that, Sakura-san, Lee spoke. He's trying to provoke Kakashi. I'm sure your team will do fine. Of course we will, Sakura replied. Nothing can beat us when we're together. Her boys smirked from their places but she just smiled at Lee. So many people made it, Naruto commented, looking back at Sakura. It's funny that the rookie 9 all made it too. Alright, listen up, Anko called. Hokage-sama is going to explain the third exam to you. Before I explain the next exam, I want to explain the true meaning of these exams. All of the Konohanin watched him closely as he thoroughly explained how the shinobi world worked and Sakura found no reason as to why she should give a shit about such a ruthless village. Then again, I'm becoming ruthless myself, she acknowledged. This village of blood and deceit is probably the best place for someone like me. The third exam is a fight for your life with the pride of your village at stake. I'm to put my life on the line for pride? Are you kidding me? As the Hokage prepared to explain the exam to come, a Chunin appeared before him, bowed. Hokage-sama, as the proctor for the third exam, allow me to speak first. Sarutobi nodded and the man turned to face them. It's good to meet you all, he spoke before breaking off into coughs. There's something I need you all to do before we make it to the third exams. We've got to have a preliminary exam before we can move on to the real one. Huh? A what? Preliminary. Shikamaru exclaimed. Just what do you mean by that? I don't understand, Sakura spoke up. Why must we have a preliminary exam? Why can't we just move on to the third stage? Well, the thing is there's too many of you. The first and second rounds might have been too easy. We never expected so many of you to make it. The rules of the Chunin exams state that a preliminary round can be held at any stage during the exams in order to reduce the amount of candidates remaining. So it'll begin right now. Is there anyone here who doesn't think they're in top physical condition to continue? Right now? But we've barely had time to recover from the last exam, Ino yelled. The winners will be determined by one-on-one combat, sudden death. So like I said, if anyone doesn't wish to continue, raise your hand. Sakura heard a grunt of pain and turned around to see Sasuke clutching at his neck. Are you okay? She asked. I'm fine. Maybe you shouldn't continue. Sakura. If you quit, I will too. Sasuke's eyes widened as he looked at her. We're our team. If you go, I'll go. Before they could continue, Kabuto raised his hand to leave. What is all this about, Kabuto? You can't just leave. Oh, Naruto. I just can't do it. My body is too beat up. To be honest, since the orientation and my scuffle with that Otonin, I've lost the hearing in one of my ears. Now they want me to lay my life down after no rest for another battle? I can't do it. Sakura eyed him with suspicion. What game are you playing, Kabuto? Watching him leave, she just knew she couldn't trust him. Now is there anyone else? Sasuke? No, Sakura, he spoke. Thanks, but I'm fine. This exam means more to me than just becoming a Chunin. I need to test myself against the strongest so that I know if I'm as strong as I can be, and the strongest are right here. Sakura watched him carefully. I don't know why it is you feel the need to push yourself like this, Sasuke, she murmured. But if you wish to get stronger, we will help you in whatever way we can. We will support you in every way. Sasuke stared back at her intently before nodding. Sakura turned back to face the front to find Naruto watching them, confused. Later, was all she said. The blonde nodded and they faced forward again. There's 17 left, meaning we need 8 matches. One lucky person will pass without having to fight. The surviving candidates from these matches will proceed to the third exam. As for the rules, there are none. You will fight until one dies or gives up. You can give up to avoid dying. As a proctor, I'm given a certain amount of leeway to judge the matches. I might intervene if a match seems impossible, to save as many lives as possible. A piece of the wall opened to reveal a large screen. All of your names have been entered into the computer and will be chosen at random. With that, let's begin. The names began to shuffle through until finally, they stopped. Akato Yoroi vs Uchiha Sasuke. Alright, those of you whose names have been chosen, come forth. Sasuke moved from behind her as Kabuto's teammate moved forward. You two have been chosen for the first match. Are there any objections? None here. No. Everyone else will clear the area and move to the upper level. Kakashi followed them as they moved up, but she caught him pausing beside Sasuke. Sakura pulled Naruto with her as they moved up to the next level. From there, they watched. Wanna tell me what that was back there? Naruto asked Sakura. When we fought Orochimaru, he bit Sasuke. That's why he was unconscious too, Sakura whispered to him. He left behind a mark which gave him unbelievable power but also messed with his head a little. Once it went away, it started reacting negatively to his chakra, so when he used his Sharingan, it started playing up. Even now, he's in pain. I had no idea, Naruto murmured. Sakura nudged him gently. Don't worry, Naruto. We'll look after him, right? Naruto nodded. Right. The fight began, and now that he was aware of what was going on, Naruto instantly picked up the hesitation and recoils of pain. The moment Yoroi's hand lit up, Sakura knew it was bad. She gripped the railing, leaning forward. Don't let him touch you, Sasuke, she called. Sasuke dodged an attack, noticing the hand that had lit up. Whatever it is, it can't be good. With that in mind, he made sure to keep a wide berth. Taijutsu was his only option, but it was a risk to get close. If he moves fast enough, he could win this. With that, he began a move he'd seen from Lee. Sakura watched with wide eyes as he followed Yoroi into the air once he kicked him up. Watching him move showed her just how impressive he was, and she felt her heart ache. She knew she was behind, but seeing Sasuke in action revealed to her how weak she was in comparison. Sasuke tumbled backwards, and there was a moment when no one was moving. Hate checked on Yoroi before sighing. He looked to Sasuke, who started to rise. Sakura broke out into a smile as Naruto cheered. As the winner of this match, Uchiha Sasuke advances to the third round. Way to go! Naruto screamed. Nice work. You won, but in such a very uncool way. Naruto continued. Give me a break, Baka. Sakura giggled and Sasuke smirked at them. Kakashi appeared behind him when he almost fell back. Impressive, Kakashi stated. With these clear eyes of hers, she noted the pride on his eye. He never looked at her or Naruto like that. Was Kakashi playing favorites? Her smile slipped a little. One of the medic nins approached them as two others carried Yoroi away. Uchiha Sasuke, perhaps you should come with us so that we may look over your injuries. You're way out of your league here, Kakashi informed him as he bent down to Sasuke. You're coming with me. We need to get that mark sealed. Before the preliminaries are over? I want to see who makes it to the finals. Forget it, and don't think of arguing. I'm not leaving my team, Sasuke snapped. Kakashi looked at him, surprised. They supported me and I want to support them. At least let me watch their matches. Once their matches are over, I'll go. Kakashi took a moment to consider it before sighing. Very well, but the moment their matches are concluded, you're coming with me. Sasuke nodded and allowed Kakashi to help him up the stairs. Sakura caught him in a hug. I saw the mark moving and I got worried, but it receded. If that's not a sign that you're getting stronger, I don't know what is, Sakura whispered in his ear. He nodded to her in appreciation as Naruto carelessly smacked him on the back. The next one to fight was Kankuro and Misumi. Sakura moved to the wall and rested her back against it. Sasuke joined her. You should get some rest for your match that's to come. Sakura nodded. Let me know if there's a match I should care about. Sasuke nodded and Sakura allowed sleep to take over, knowing her team was nearby. It wasn't long before Sasuke nudged her awake. HM? You need to see this. Sakura opened her eyes to see Naruto looking at her with wide eyes. Sakura looked at Sasuke, who was nodding to the screen. Her head turned and she saw it. Haruno Sakura vs Yamanaka Ino. Sakura's head turned to see Ino with her team, who had turned to look at her. Pupillus blue clashed with seafoam green. Naruto offered her a hand, which Sakura took. He pulled her up. Sakura hoped Ino could feel the anger and hatred radiating off her. Don't hold back, Sasuke told her, glaring at Team 10. Kick her ass, Naruto agreed. Naruto and Sasuke handed her some of their own weapons since she only had one kunai left, and she jumped down. Ino was soon to follow. Did I miss something? Kakashi asked the two boys. They chose to remain silent. I never thought I'd have to fight you, Ino spoke. Why? Because you thought I'd die in the forest of death? Sakura spat. Ino recoiled. No! Sakura, I never meant. To what? Leave me for dead? She growled. What was I supposed to do, endanger my team? We used to be best friends, Ino. Sakura yelled at her. I was badly injured and bleeding profusely, and you fucking left me to die. Ino winced as if dealt a physical blow. But because of that, I discovered a new side of myself, Sakura murmured, looking at her hands. She opened and closed them tightly. You were terrified, I saw it, even while I was bleeding out. Your knees were shaking and you couldn't stop trembling. Don't lie to me and tell me you ran away because you were worried for your team. You ran away because you were scared. But you're here now. You made it and they didn't. Sakura smiled at that. Let's just do this, she spoke, looking to hate. He nodded and raised his hand. Begin. Sakura took off charging. Ino dodged her attacks, but was too slow to miss one of her punches, stumbling backwards. Don't go easy on me, Ino, Sakura snapped. Fight back. I deserve that, at least. Ino fought back, but the more she did, the harder Sakura's attacks got. You left me, you left me, you left me, she chanted in her mind to fuel her anger. They met hit for hit, blow for blow, but Sakura's were harder due to her rage. I've never seen this side of her before, Kiba spoke. That's because this side didn't exist before the Forest of Death, Sasuke told him. She's changed, Shikamaru admitted. She moves with a high sense of motivation and will. She won't accept defeat, Naruto said. Not to anyone, especially Ino. She won't lose, Sasuke agreed. As they fought, flashes of their time together as children appeared in her mind. With each successful hit she landed, tears welled in her eyes. I didn't want to change, she thought to herself. I didn't want to see how cruel the world could actually be. You forced me to see this, and in the end, I started to bloom in the darkness. I can't go on pretending the world is a wonderful place. I can't forget what I learned in the forest. Kicking Ino in the stomach, she gasped for breath, leaving the perfect opening. Going in with a punch, images of Ino being there for her as a child blinded her for a second. Slap. Ino's eyes widened, just as Sakura's did. Her hand slowly came up to touch her cheek that stung from the hit. You slapped me, Ino murmured. Damn it, Sakura cursed. Left yourself wide open. Sakura looked down in shock. What? Having finished the required seals, Ino smirked. Shintenshin no Jutsu. Ino's body collapsed as Sakura's straightened slowly. What just happened? Naruto asked. Shintenshin no Jutsu, a jutsu passed down through the Yamanaka clan. It allows the user to force their spirit into another person and effectively take control of their body. It's normally used to collect information, but this will work all the same, Kakashi spoke. Sakura is doomed. You mean Ino is inside Sakura-san? Lee asked. Kakashi nodded as he watched. The Yamanaka jutsu is incredibly powerful and very invasive. There is no way for Sakura to get out of this. That means Sakura loses, Shikamaru said, smirking at Naruto. Both Sasuke and Naruto glared at them. You're still just a bud, Sakura. You couldn't even bring yourself to hurt me and in turn, left yourself wide open. Now forehead, if you'd be so kind. Slowly, Sakura raised her hand. Now I, Haruno Sakura, would like to say that I with. No! Naruto screamed. Sakura, don't! Ino hissed. Man, that kid is just so annoying. You worked so hard to get here, Sakura-chan, Don't disgrace yourself now by losing to that coward. Ino smirked at him. Yell all you want, there's nothing you can do now. Suddenly, chills overcame her and the body stopped listening to her command. What? She muttered. Loud ringing blocked her hearing as pain shot through her head. Ino blocked her ears, trying to drown out the sound. What's happening? She screamed. Naruto, thank you. Ino looked up in shock before the pain in her head increased. Sakura. This can't be happening. What's wrong? Are you withdrawing? Well, are you or not? Give me a minute, Sakura managed out, voice dark and cold. How can this be? Ino screamed, gaining a little control. How could you have two spirits inside of you? What the hell are you? Inside, inner Sakura expanded. You've run out of luck, Ino. Outer Sakura might not have been able to bring herself to kill you, she spoke, a wicked smirk on her face. Grabbing the Yamanaka tightly in her grasp, she began to squeeze. But I can, she finished, chuckling. Sakura, stop. You shouldn't have put Sakura to sleep. And no, Ino screamed. I can't hold on to her. Her hands moved to form the symbol for release, but Inner fought her, keeping her from completing the seal. Her hands constricted tighter and tighter until Ino suddenly stopped moving. Inner returned to normal size, dropping Ino's spirit that faded away. Sakura slowly stood, panting. Sakura, is that you? Sasuke called. Sakura looked up, smiling. Yeah, it's me. Impossible, Shikamaru called. Hate walked to her where Ino's body had collapsed when she transferred her soul. Sakura looked down at her and froze. Her eyes were wide open but unseeing. Blood trailed from her mouth. She's dead, Hate stated. Sakura stared down at her body in shock and horror. Haruno Sakura advances to the final round. Aino? Aino? Sakura asked. Hate made to stand when suddenly Ino's body took a large intake of breath. Quickly summoning the medic Nines, they rushed her out of the arena area. Sakura went to follow, but Asuma stopped her with a stern look as he jumped down from the upper level. I didn't mean to. Maybe it's best if you keep your distance, Sakura, Asuma spoke before following after the medics. Sakura made her way up the stairs, keeping her eyes down. She didn't want to see the looks people might be giving her. She didn't want to see the anger and hatred in Shikamaru and Choji's eyes. Why should you care what they think of you? They abandoned you too. Inner, what did you do to her? I just fought back, just like you wanted. I never wanted you to kill her. I didn't want her to die. Who do you think you're talking to, Sakura-chan? I'm you. You may think that you didn't want her dead, but your heart and your mind both wanted to pay her back for leaving you behind. You wanted her to suffer the betrayal you felt in the forest as you strangled her to death. No. You're wrong. You're wrong. I didn't dash. Sakura was snapped out of it when she felt hands on her shoulders. Looking up, she saw Sasuke and Naruto, looking at her with concern and affection. With their hands upon her shoulders, she noted the tremble in her body. Let's go grab a drink, okay? Naruto offered. Sakura allowed herself to be turned around and led back down and out of the area. The moment they turned the corner, and were no longer under the scrutiny of others, Sakura covered her face with her hands to hide the tears flowing freely. Her body shook with the effort to silence her sobs until she felt arms wrap around her. It's okay, Sakura-chan. Sakura clutched to his black undershirt and sobbed into his chest. I don't know what's happening to me, she cried. We're here, Sasuke stated. She's not going to wake up. Inner dash. Her body is alive but her soul is missing. I don't know if the Yamanaka clan has a way of recovering her soul. So she really is dead. Sakura wiped her eyes with the sleeves of Naruto's jacket, smiling at the two appreciatively. Thank you, she murmured. Whether or not Ino dies, we don't care, Sasuke spoke. She wasn't our teammate, she was just someone we went to the academy with. She was really bossy, to be honest, Naruto agreed, throwing his hands behind his head, carefree and shrugged. You said it before? We have us and that's all we need. I don't want everyone to hate me though. Me either, Naruto added. But we will do what we have to do. To be Hokage, I've got to be the strongest. And to kill a certain someone, I need power. Sakura nodded. We will do what we have to, she pledged. We will do what we have to, the boys repeated. They walked back into the arena just in time to see Temari win her match against Tenten. They joined Kakashi, who placed a hand on Sakura's shoulder. Are you okay? I'm fine, sensei. As Tenten was carried away, Sakura turned to Lee. I'm sorry she didn't win, Lee. Lee smiled and gave her a thumbs up, and Sakura felt warm knowing that Lee didn't shun her either. There will always be next year, Sakura-san. Sakura nodded her head as the next two people to fight were picked. Inuzuka Kiba vs Uzumaki Naruto. Yeah, it's my turn. Finally! The blonde exclaimed. Sakura laughed and patted him on the back. Kick his ass, Naruto, Sakura encouraged. As if I'd do anything else. Sasuke nodded to him, and Naruto jumped down excitedly. The next match is between Inuzuka Kiba and Uzumaki Naruto. Don't take it personally when I blow you away. That's what I was going to say. Except a lot less politely. Right, Akamaru? Arf. Kiba glared at the pup. Oh yeah? Naruto questioned. Talk is cheap, let's see what you have to say at the end of the match. You can do it, Naruto, Sakura called from the upper level. Show 'em who's boss. Kurenai looked over at Kakashi. Sorry, Kakashi, but your boy doesn't stand a chance against Kiba. Not a chance. Ah, man. Kiba's so lucky. Sakura's head snapped up, looking to see where the voice came from. Sensing someone glaring their way, Choji and Shikamaru looked to see Sakura and Sasuke glaring at them. Shit, they heard you, Shikamaru hissed to Choji. Lucky is he? Sakura asked. I'll bet you a lifetime of free food at the barbecue pork place that Naruto wins. Are you serious? Choji wondered. You'll buy me barbecue pork for the rest of my life. Sakura nodded. Don't do it, Choji. Did you forget what she did to Ino? But Ino's alive, isn't she? Choji spoke. Besides, it's a lifetime of pork. Sakura smirked. Alright, deal. When Kiba landed a solid elbow to Naruto's gut, the blonde went flying. Naruto didn't get back up. You can go ahead and call the match, he's not getting back up for a while. Barbecue pork, here I come. Sakura watched on. You're more than they think of you, Naruto, Sakura thought proudly. You have what it takes to be Hokage. Naruto's hand twitched, and he slowly got back up. I believe in your dream, Naruto. I believe in you. Kiba turned back around in disbelief, and she heard the shock sounds coming from Choji and Shikamaru. Naruto panted as he straightened. Don't you ever underestimate me. Lee hollered beside her, and Sasuke crossed his arms with a smirk. Attaboy, she called out. He's come a long way, Shikamaru spoke, amused. Yeah? It's all just tough talk, Kiba yelled. But go look in a mirror. You're a mess. I just wanted to see what you've got. With more trash talk, the real battle began. She watched closely, but even she couldn't see with the smoke. Sasuke scoffed with annoyance, itching to use his Sharingan, but knowing that would be a very bad idea. As the smoke faded away, Naruto's body was left on the ground, Akamaru sitting beside him. Arf. Yeah. Way to go, Akamaru. Something's not right. As Akamaru ran to Kiba, he shocked everyone by latching onto Kiba's arm, sinking his teeth in good. The utmost confusion on Kiba's face, and the realization of what just happened left Sakura in a fit of laughter. The fight continued with Akamaru transforming into another Kiba. The pills he took make them both faster and stronger. When Naruto got hit with 2 Getsugas, Sakura began to worry. I will be Hokage, he wheezed out, still face down. And how are you going to do that? By lying flat on your face? He teased. I've got news for you, I'm gonna be Hokage. As Kiba laughed at him, Naruto shook. You're always being laughed at, Sakura thought to herself. I never realized it before because I, too, thought you were useless. We laughed at your dream and made you feel stupid. This happened quite a lot, didn't it? Come on. Do you really think a weakling like you can become Hokage? You must be weak in the head. Kiba continued to laugh and Sakura clenched her fists. I was just like Kiba, mocking your dream. For that, Naruto, I'm so sorry. But you're not weak. That's the one thing you aren't. You always believed in yourself and never doubted your strengths. You didn't have parents to encourage you, friends to motivate you. You got to where you are today on your own, and that's something to be proud of. Now everyone's watching you, Naruto. Naruto slowly began to rise. That's it. On your feet. She cried out, cheering him on. You can forget about being Hokage, Naruto spoke, smirking. Because I'm the top dog around here. With renewed vigor, the fighting picked up again. After taking another belting, Naruto once again showed his determination by getting up. She was beginning to worry. He'd taken so many hits and was bleeding quite badly on his arms. As Kiba ran at him again, Sakura gripped the railing. Come on, come on! Kiba slipped in behind him, ready to deliver a finishing blow when. Byarrarararrar. Naruto's face turned into one of humiliation. It took a moment for Sakura to realize what just happened. Sasuke started to laugh just as Kiba threw his head back, clutching at his nose, coughing and gagging. She started to laugh before it became uncontrollable. She hung on to the railing as she all but fell against it in her mirth, as tears slid down her cheeks. Her face became red from all the laughing. Whatever works, and Naruto, she managed to get out. You slowed him down at least. She started to crack up again. I wish I could say I planned it, he joked, laughing off the embarrassment. Now it's time for my actual move. Creating copies of himself, he surrounded the Inuzuka. Running at him, a clone punched him in the face. Using him as a stepping stone, Naruto threw himself up. His clones slipped under Kiba, kicking him up. Yu, Zu. Ma. Ki. Naruto flipped, bringing his foot down hard on Kiba's head. Naruto barrage! Kiba slammed face first into the ground, getting knocked out in the process. The winner is Uzumaki Naruto. Sakura and Lee cheered loudly. No! My barbecue! Sakura looked at him. Does that mean I have to buy you barbecue pork for life? Choji asked, depressed. Sakura nodded. Yup. Ah man. Fortunately for you, I only go to that place once every couple of months and I don't eat a lot. Naruto rejoined them and Sakura jumped on him, excited. You made it. I knew you could do it. Congrats, Naruto. Naruto laughed as he held her, smiling brightly. Did you see? Did you see? How could we not? We were standing right here, Sasuke spoke. But you totally copied my move. You mean Lee's move? She teased. Sasuke huffed and looked away with a scowl. Time to go, Sasuke, Kakashi spoke. I let you stay under the condition that you come with me when their matches were over. Sasuke sighed but agreed. Are you guys coming? Sasuke asked. It's probably best that they don't, Kakashi advised. It's not going to be pleasant for you and it may hurt them to see you in pain. Sakura stepped towards them with Naruto right beside her, but Sasuke shook his head. No, he's right. I don't want you guys to see me in pain. But Sasuke. I'll be fine, he assured them. Good work, you two. As the two walked off, Sakura and Naruto looked at each other worriedly. We will stay for a little while longer before we leave. Sakura nodded and they turned back to see whose match was next. Hyuga Hinata vs Hyuga Neji. Seeing the names on the screen, Sakura saw utter terror on Hinata's face from her place near the entry with Kiba. Even Kiba seemed upset with the matchup. A family feud? Sakura wondered aloud. I never thought that you and I would have to face each other, Hinata, Neji spoke. Nor I, brother. Brother! Naruto bellowed. Those two are siblings? They are both descendants of the Hyuga clan, one of the most ancient and powerful clans of the village, Kakashi spoke. They're not actually brother and sister. But they are related? Very much the same as a branch is related to the trunk of a tree. So cousins. A branch of a tree? Naruto wondered. Yes, Lee replied. Hinata belongs to the main household, directly descendant of the head of the clan, while Neji's family is just a side family of the clan. Sakura's eyes narrowed at that. That's a terrible system to have, she stated. Kakashi looked at her curiously. It must be hard for them to have to face each other, Naruto murmured. Not as hard as you may think, Lee imposed. I've heard that for several generations now, there has been bad blood between the two families. Why is that? I'm not sure of the specifics, but apparently the first generation made all sorts of rules that favored the main family. Some of those side branches broke those rules. So it's said that because of that, there has been friction between the branches of the clan. So I was right. This is a family feud, Sakura confirmed. They are about to start, Kakashi stated. Before we start, a word of advice. Hinata, listen to me. The brunette looked up, absolutely timid. Withdraw now. You know you were never meant to be a ninja. You're too kind and gentle. You seek harmony and avoid conflict. You allow yourself to be easily swayed by others. As his harsh words continued, Hinata's eyes widened. Admit it, you have no confidence. You feel inferior to everyone here. It would have been better for you to simply remain a genin, but to register for the Chunin exams, you need a team of 3 people. You never even wanted to take part in these exams, but Shino and Kiba did, and you couldn't bear to leave your teammates down. Could you? That struck something within Sakura herself. No. You're wrong. You're wrong. I had to find out. I did it because I wanted to see if I could change. Sakura clenched her hands by her side. Hinata, you are the pampered offspring of the Hyuga's main branch. What? People can't change no matter how hard they try. Hinata felt her stomach drop at the statement. All her hard work, all she had dreamed of becoming. Was it all truly a lost cause? They can't run away from their true nature. A failure will always be a failure. People are judged by their true nature. It is the way of the world. That is why we have an elite and why there are outcasts. We change our physical appearance, improve our skills with training and study. But ultimately, we are judged by what we cannot change. What can't change must be endured. We are who we are, Hinata, and we must live with it. Just as I must live with the fact that you were born into the elite of our clan while I am from a lesser branch. I understand these things because I see the world clearly with my Byakugan. Despite your brave words, what you're really thinking is that you'd like to run. Run away as far away from here as you can. No. You're wrong. You're wrong about me. Hinata was trembling visibly and Sakura's hands clenched around the rail once again. As Niji went on to reveal her innermost deep thought, Hinata's trembling grew worse. She began to hyperventilate as Niji laid out all her insecurities before her. Her pupils dilated and she was starting to slip into a panic attack. Shut up! Sakura screamed, cutting off Niji. Hinata looked at her in surprise. Who the hell do you think you are telling her what she can and can't be? Sakura turned her furious emerald eyes on Hinata. Hinata, I understand. She yelled. I didn't want to be here, and the only reason I came was because I didn't want to let Naruto and Sasuke down. But we came, Hinata. You've already started to change. Would your old self be here right now if she didn't think she could handle it? Ignore his words and show him how much you've changed, Hinata. Are you just going to take his shit, Hinata? Naruto followed. Fight back. Sakura continued. In this world, if you don't, you will die. If you give it your all and still lose, then there is nothing to be ashamed of. Hinata's head dropped, her trembling coming to a stop. Taking a deep breath, she looked back up, determination shining in her eyes. If you don't forfeit, you know what will happen. Shove your forfeit up your ass. Sakura barked. We Kunoichi are stronger than you give us credit for. All we need is a little push. Hinata's hands flew through science. Byakugan. Her eyes changed, revealing the chakra pathways to her eyes as veins in her skin. She slipped down into a stance Sakura didn't recognize, so she assumed it was a Hyuga thing. Defend yourself, my brother. When Niji slid into the same stance, her suspicion was confirmed. Very well then. The Hyuga style. It is the most effective taijutsu styles found in our village. Attacking first, the two met blow for blow, releasing small waves of chakra through their hands with each thrust. Their hands weren't balled into fists though, but open-palmed. A particular hit almost landed on him. Did she get him? No, just missed, Sakura answered. Even so, a glancing blow is enough. That is what makes the Hyuga clan the most formidable of fighters. What does? What are you talking about? Their taijutsu is unique, passed down for generations, Guy stated, stepping closer to them. While the taijutsu Lee and I practice focuses on external damage, the Hyuga's way is to attack the internal organs and the chakra network. Not as interesting to watch, but has gradually devastating results. You see, you can't build up your internal organs, no matter how hard you train, Kakashi stated. Even the toughest ninja is vulnerable to this kind of attack. This is it, Sakura thought. This is what I want to learn. But how do they see the chakra network? Sakura asked, looking at Kakashi. It's invisible to the naked eye, right? How do they know where to attack? Few things are invisible to their eyes. As you could probably guess, Sakura, small bursts of their chakra come out with each attack that can drill straight into their opponent's body and right into their chakra network. Damn, I wouldn't be able to attack the chakra network, specifically, Sakura thought, coming up with ideas. But if I studied the human body, I could find the most vital areas and weak spots and attack them instead. This could work. Now watching with intent, Sakura watched the Hyugas move. It wouldn't be too much to imitate, but to build up the fighting style well enough to do missions might be a struggle. The chakra bursts would be something of a challenge too. Anticipation flooded her body at the thought of more learning. To think she was actually looking forward to this new project when the idea of strenuous activity usually left her in a horrendous mood. Finally, the two collided, leaving them in wait. Did she get him? Naruto snapped. Blood burst out of Hinata's mouth with a gasp. Sakura's eyes widened. What the hell? Hinata hit Neji perfectly. Is that all there is to the main family? Hinata's eyes narrowed despite the blood trailing down the side of her mouth, and she lunged again. She moved too slow as Neji caught her arm and hit it with another jab. He lifted her sleeve, revealing red blotches on her skin. Her eyes widened in fear. No! You! That's right. This whole time, I've been targeting your chakra points. What does that mean, Kakashi-sensei? By hitting these points directly, one can either increase or stop the chakra flow to certain areas. That's why Hinata's attack was ineffective, Lee spoke. She had no chakra to hit him with. Neji hit Hinata in the chest with another attack, sending her flying back. Neji began to approach her, and Sakura felt like leaping over the rail. Look, Hinata. I'm completely out of your league, and that won't change. This is what separates the elite from the failures. Hinata struggled to get up, panting. You may not like it, but it's a fact. From the instant you said that you wouldn't run anymore, your fate was sealed. You were destined for failure. Do it, Hinata. Forfeit. Hinata's body trembled from the strain of trying to move. I'll never go back on my word, she panted shakingly. Hinata, Sakura murmured. Because that too is my ninja way. More blood had slipped down her chin, yet she stood, and Sakura felt moved by the heiress who had come such a long way. Unlike her, she was still bathed in the light part of the world where Sakura had gone under in the dark. Preparing to fight again, Hinata suddenly gasped again and clutched at her chest. Keep going, Hinata! Hinata ran forward and the two began their dance again, but from what Lee said, Hinata couldn't win this. Not with her chakra blocked. Neji managed to hit her in the throat, and she stumbled back. She shook before she started to cough and gasp. Despite this, she went again. Neji hit her with another chakra burst. Then she fell. You just don't get it, do you? Your attacks were ineffective from the start. Neji turned and walked away. Hate moved to end the match. No! Naruto screamed. Don't stop this match. Naruto, Sakura hissed. Hinata's had it. If she continues, Neji will kill her. Sakura-chan. Hinata began to get up again, shocking nearly everyone. If she stands, Neji will target her, Sakura hissed at him. She will die. No, she. Hinata struggled to her feet, almost tipping over. She was in no shape to move. There was no way for her to win, and even though Sakura knew how much she wanted to keep going, she also knew Hinata didn't stand a chance anymore. What do you think you're doing? Neji snapped. If you continue to fight, you're going to die. I'm far from finished. Give up the tough guy act. I can tell you're barely standing. You've been carrying a very heavy burden, being born to the main branch of the Hyuga clan. And you've cursed and blamed yourself for being weak. But people can't change the way they are. That's just the way it is. Just accept defeat, and you won't have to suffer anymore. No, you've got it wrong, brother, she replied. You've got it backwards. You see, I can tell. You're suffering much more than I. I'm what? You're the one who's all torn up about the main and side branches of the Hyuga clan. Neji growled and ran at her. Neji, no! The match is over. In an instant, Kakashi, Guy and Kurenai were there, holding Niji back while Hate stood before the attack. Niji, get a hold of yourself, Guy scolded. You promised me you wouldn't let this family stuff get you riled up. Why are you and the other Jonin butting in? He growled. The head family gets special treatment, huh? Sakura jumped down and ran for Hinata just as another wave of pain attacked her chest. She coughed up blood again and Sakura caught her. Hinata, Sakura called. Hinata, stay with us. Her eyes began to close slowly. Have I changed? She murmured as her eyes slid closed. Hinata, open your eyes. Hey you. Pinky. Sakura turned to Niji who was glaring at her. I have 2 pieces of advice for you. First of all, if you're going to call yourself a kunoichi, stop getting involved in other people's problems. They don't concern you. And second, once a weakling, always a weakling. You can't change that. You and Hinata are so alike, it's sad. You're both weak, useless, and holding your teammates back. The only difference I see is that Hinata is from a prestigious clan, and you're from a weak family, probably less than dirt. Sakura glared back, eyes as hard as emeralds, darkened by pure fury. I might be a weakling, Sakura growled. But mark my words, Hyuga Niji. I will get stronger if only to stomp you and your fucked up clan into the ground. You think you could ever amount to anything worthy of overcoming the Hyuga clan? The Hyuga are nothing but arrogant fools if you're anything to go by. This coming from a pathetic girl? No, this coming from a girl with nothing to lose. Like you said, my family has no weighted title such as prestigious clan, powerful, or ancient. I'm at the very bottom while you're at the very top. There's only one way for us to go. Hinata coughed again, and Kurenai unzipped her jacket, placing a hand to her chest. I wouldn't be glaring at me when you should be taking care of her. Get a medic, Kurenai called. Hurry up. We're coming. She has no pulse. She has 10 minutes at best. Let's get her to the emergency room now. As she was swiftly carried away on the stretcher, Sakura watched closely. Hinata, Naruto muttered. Sakura turned her hard eyes back on the smirking male. I'll get you, Niji. I swear it. All they could do was wait as the blood that was spilt that match was cleaned up. As Naruto stood by her side, Sakura couldn't help meeting Niji's glare every now and then. Kakashi had even positioned himself to be somewhat between the two. I can't wait to paint him with his own blood, Inner raged within. The hunger clawed at her stomach and she had to turn away to calm herself. Sakura-chan, are you mad at me? Naruto asked. Sakura sighed and straightened from her relaxed state on the rail. Just a little frustrated is all, Naruto. I just wanted her to keep going. She turned to him with affectionate eyes. I know, Naruto, and that's one of the reasons why I admire you. But she could not win by that point, she stated. Her chakra had all but been sealed and her fighting style relied solely on chakra. She knew of no other way to fight, and being so badly injured as she was, she shouldn't have been encouraged to continue with her life so heavily in danger. But not everyone can work miracles like you, Naruto, Sakura cut him off gently. She placed a hand on his shoulder. Reckless behavior like that can get oneself, or their entire time killed. Being able to constantly get back up is a skill all in its own, but knowing when to call it quits is also a skill. I'm sorry. Sakura frowned and pinched his whiskered cheek half-heartedly. He looked up, rubbing his cheek with confusion. Don't apologize. You were only looking out for Hinata, and that is not something to be sorry for. Naruto stared at her for a moment before scratching the back of his head sheepishly. Hate coughed, drawing their attention back. There are 5 left. Shino, Shikamaru, Choji, Gaara and Lee. They were the only ones left to fight. Gaara versus Rock Lee. Sakura and Naruto turned to look at Lee, who was pumped full of adrenaline. As the match began, Sakura couldn't understand how Gaara's sand worked. With every kick and punch Lee threw his way, his sand simply moved to block with no effort on Gaara's part. When Lee withdrew, the sand would retreat back towards the redhead's gourd. Feeling a slight vibration on the railing, she turned to see Shino had stepped forward, holding tightly to the bar. His whole body was tense as he watched the match. Did he know something about the redhead? Lee had been out for some time after our clash with the Otonin in the forest, so he couldn't have left an impression on Shino of all people. Her eyes turned back to the match, suddenly overcome with a bad feeling. Be careful, Lee. Why doesn't he use ninjutsu? Naruto asked from beside her. Can't he see that taijutsu isn't working? Ninjutsu would possibly be preferable, Guy admitted. If he had any, that is. What do you mean? Sakura asked. Lee cannot control chakra, Neji spoke up, almost condescendingly. All he has is taijutsu. That doesn't make him any less of a ninja, Naruto snapped. His performance is already looking better than yours. Sakura turned away to hide her smile as Neji glowered at him. She turned back in time to see Lee back flip out of harm's way, landing on the hand sign statue. Alright, Lee, Guy announced, giving him the thumbs up. Take him off. It must have been impressive by the disbelief shining in his bug-like eyes. But sensei, you said to only use that as a last resort when very important people's lives were at stake. That's right, but this is an exception. The light shone through brightly as Lee sat on the fingertips and revealed leg weights under his orange leg warmers. Weights? Sakura wondered, confused. He finally stood, holding out the pair of leg weights with outstretched arms. Ah, that is better. Now I can move freely. She watched as the weights dropped, still so very confused until said weights crashed into the ground, shaking the tower ridiculously. Are you kidding me? Naruto exclaimed. Sakura stood beside him, simply gaping in awe. Now go, Lee! Guy yelled. Lee practically hollered as he leapt down and vanished from sight. Moving too fast for her to see, the only tell that Gaara was under attack was the bursts of sand happening around the redhead that left even him in shock. Finally, Lee appeared after landing a solid kick down onto Gaara's head. With the first hit, Lee began landing even more and Sakura felt her excitement bubbling. Go, Lee! She cheered. But as Gaara began to rise from his beating, a shudder shot through her. What is that? Bloodlust. Gaara looked up and chills attacked her system like nothing she'd felt before. His grin was insane, his breathing labored. Outer, no matter what happens, don't ever go against that guy, Inner warned. If we ever have to face him, forfeit. He will kill us without hesitation. Sakura didn't have to be told twice. Just being in the same room as him was tearing at her nerves. Her legs began to tremble slightly. Raising the collar of Naruto's jacket, she covered most of her face for comfort. She reached for Naruto, pulling him to her side. He turned to her, but her shaking answered his internal questions, given the appearance of Gaara. Deep within him, he felt the QB stirring. That guy was on a whole other level. Despite the impressive strikes Lee landed and the headway he was making, Sakura knew it would all end bad. That smile Gaara had worn. When Lee caught him with his primary lotus, she hoped that was it. That the match was over. They all waited for the dust to clear and dread pulled at her again. It was but a shell. When Gaara revealed himself, the match took a complete turn as Lee took blow after blow. Why is he just standing there? With his speed, he should be dodging them easily, Naruto questioned. The lotus is like a double-edged sword, Kakashi spoke up. It required extreme physical effort. Right now, Lee is in so much pain, he can hardly move at all. But Lee continued to fight and dodge, regardless of the odds stacking against him. With no ninjutsu or genjutsu and barely any taijutsu left, Lee would be lucky to survive if he did not give up. Gaara's face contorted with sick pleasure the longer the match continued. The attacks continued on, borderlining torture given the fact that Lee could barely fight back. He needs to give up, Sakura stated, drawing the attention of those around her. Can't you see he's going to run himself to death? Relax, Sakura, Guy spoke, smiling at her. The Konoha lotus blooms twice. Sakura looked at him confused. Lee told me that. What? Kakashi asked, turning to him. No, Guy, you didn't. Yes, Kakashi, I did. So that Genin, that boy, is able to open the 8 inner gates and use the hidden lotus? That's correct. Kakashi was very displeased. How many of the inner gates is he able to open now? 5. What the hell are these gates? Naruto snapped. The 8 gates are like valves or chakra limiters that must be opened if one is to release the hidden lotus. I don't get it. There are gates along the chakra network located at those spots in the body where the chakra is most heavily concentrated, starting at the head, Kakashi explained, turning back to the match after releasing his Sharingan. The gate of opening, rest, life, pain, closing, joy, shock and death. These are what are called the 8 inner gates. Their purpose is to limit the flow of chakra through the body, but the lotus placed tremendous stress on these limiters, eventually forcing the gates open. Sakura didn't need to hear the rest. She could make the connection. But with such power would come at a great cost to the user's body. By opening all the gates, you can obtain power beyond the level of Hokage, Kakashi continued. The only drawback is you die. Why the hell would you teach him that? Sakura yelled at Guy. I don't know what this boy means to you, Guy, but I shouldn't have to tell you that we never bring our personal feelings into play, Kakashi scolded him. I wouldn't have thought you were capable of this. You have no right, he snapped back. You know nothing about him. Nothing at all. That boy has something to prove, and he's going to prove it, even at the cost of his life. Lee began to change. Chakra began to heat up his body as veins began to show. His skin turned red. Incredible power, but she saw through it to the consequence that will come. The third gate, Gate of Life, open, Lee yelled. Now he can attack, Kakashi murmured. No, not yet, Guy smirked. Lee kept going. The fourth gate, Gate of Pain, open. She spotted the tears appearing in his skin, and her nails dug into Naruto's arm desperately. With an incredible burst of speed, he went at Gaara in the blink of an eye. Suddenly in the air, Gaara was repelled around like a toy, his armor giving way like never before. Gripping Gaara by his sash, he drew him back in for the final attack. Hidden Lotus. Blinded by the sudden explosion of dust, Sakura turned away, praying. Lee was thrown away, tumbling before finally coming to a stop. When the dust cleared, it revealed Gaara still in one piece, his gourd having turned to sand and cushioning his fall. He was rasping again as he reached his hand out to Lee. The sand began to trickle towards him, slowly. There was no escape for Lee, though he tried to move, but the strain of the gates left him entirely helpless. Lee! Sakura screamed. The sand encased his left arm and leg, stopping him from getting away. Sand coffin! Gaara growled. Lee screamed in agony as the bones in both his limbs were crushed. He finally collapsed, but the damage had been done. She knew. Though he was down, more sand came for him. Her voice caught in her throat. She willed her body to move, but she was frozen stiff in absolute terror. If she went to help him, she'd be killed. Now you die! The sand crashed down on him. Lee, no! Close to hyperventilating, she barely saw Guy deflect the attack. Tears trailed down her cheeks as she screamed at herself. You failed him. He saved your fucking life at risk of his own, and you couldn't even bring yourself to do the same. Her pupils dilated, and she tucked her head further into Naruto's jacket to hide her moment of weakness. She felt Naruto step closer to her, warming her cold body. Oh my god, she heard Naruto whisper. Looking up, trembling, she spotted Lee standing behind Guy. And no way. She stepped slowly towards the stairs, still holding Naruto's arm. He was up. How was he standing? Blood seeped into his wraps and jumpsuit from the crushed limbs. His legs shook with the strain of even just standing. No, Lee, Guy spoke. It's all right. It's all over now. Anyway, you're in no condition to. Guy had stopped, just as Sakura reached the bottom stair. Lee, his voice shook. As she moved closer, she saw what it was, and she covered her mouth in shock as more tears fell. What have I done? Guy cried. Lee's eyes were half-lidded and blank. He was unconscious and yet still standing. He's out cold, Kakashi spoke, coming to stand behind her. Nothing to keep him up but sheer will. Guy embraced Lee, and Sakura finally released Naruto's arm to move towards him. Sakura, Kakashi called, his voice stopping her in her tracks. There's nothing you can do for him now. There are times where sympathetic words only make things worse. She stared at Kakashi before turning back to Guy, who was laying Lee down. She went to move again, but Kakashi caught her arm this time. Sakura, leave him, he spoke. Sakura ripped her arm away from him. Don't touch me, she snapped and ran for Lee, passing Gaara. She heard Naruto just a few steps behind her. Hurry, this boy needs attention. Sakura stepped around Guy, watching as the medic Neens performed immediate healing to stabilize his condition. You're his teacher, yes? I am, Guy replied. What is it? Will you come with me? Guy walked behind her, and she moved to help the medic Neens easily onto a stretcher. The boy's breathing is faint but steady, the medic talking to Guy said. Naruto turned slight to the pair, hoping to catch more of what he had to say. There are bone fragments and muscle tears throughout his body. He's facing a long and difficult rehabilitation, but I'm afraid that's not the worst of it. His left arm and leg have suffered massive damage. I'm sorry, I know how much it means to you both, but he'll never fight again. Naruto's eyes widened as the shock hit his system. His days as a shinobi are over. Just like that? Lee's shinobi life is over just like that? Naruto turned to look at Lee and found Sakura standing by as they raised him. He's wrong, Naruto thought, watching as they began to lead him away. It can't be true. Sakura said nothing as she followed them out, head bowed. She's changed, Kakashi murmured as Naruto joined Kakashi, who had moved back to the second level. Naruto ignored his statement in favor of his own. She won't be coming back for the other matches. I didn't realize she and Lee were so close. He saved her in the forest of death. He laid down his life for her, asking of nothing in return. Sakura-chan values loyalty and friendship more than anything now, and Lee was loyal to the T for her. Kakashi watched as Sakura disappeared out of sight. His students were changing and he had no idea what direction they were going in. She stood before Sasuke's room, having been refused to follow Lee into the emergency room, which made sense. 3 Umbu stood before her, their masks taunting her. Who are you? One asked, drawing his weapon. Haruno Sakura. I am Uchiha Sasuke's teammate. Sorry, Haruno-san, but you are not allowed to see him. He is under strict guard and supervision. If this is because of the mark that Orochimaru gave him, I was there when it happened. It's not secret to me, she replied. Even so. He is my teammate, and his well-being is of my concern. I just wish to be by his side and watch over him. You need to leave, another one spoke. No, Sakura snapped, gritting her teeth. Let me see my. Boys, just let her in. Looking behind her, she spotted the purple-haired woman that conducted the second part of the exam, Midarashi Anko. Midarashi-sama, the Umbu greeted. This girl is indeed the Uchiha's teammate. I don't want her causing a scene in the middle of the hospital. Let her in. Anko moved past her and the Umbu, entering Sasuke's room without another word. When the Umbu said nothing else, Sakura slowly moved forward before following Anko in. The sound of a heart monitor's constant beeps was the first sound to reach her ears before she saw the motionless Uchiha on a bed near the window. Bandages covered his eyes and he wore an oxygen mask to help him breathe. Quite the rebellious one, aren't you? Anko stood at the foot of said bed, watching its occupant. Sakura grabbed a chair by the door and dragged it to the side of his bed. Your team seems very attached, Anko continued. We weren't before, Sakura replied, sitting in the seat. Is that so? Sakura nodded. What do they mean to you now? More than my life, she answered truthfully. The forest of death brought out the worst in everyone, myself included. It revealed true friends and hidden enemies. Despite being at my worst, they stood by me, helped me. Saved me when even my best friend ran from me. I couldn't do much for them in the forest, but I gave it my all. I hear you passed but left before the match is finished. I wanted to be here for Lee, but I understand he needed serious treatment and surgery. Once I was turned away, I came to see Sasuke-kun. So you don't know about the last part of the Chunin exams? Sakura shook her head. Anko sighed. You kids are so impatient these days, she spoke before giving the pinkette her full attention. The third part is practically a tournament. From what I hear, 9 of you made it, and you will continue to battle until there is one winner. Though someone wins, that doesn't mean they become Chunin. Judged on your performance in the final exam, everyone could become a Chunin. Or no one. Sakura nodded, turning back to Sasuke. You get a month to train and develop new jutsu for the upcoming tournament. What will you do? Ideas filled her mind, possibilities. I might ask Kurenai-sensei to help me raise my genjutsu level and help me develop my own Hyuga fighting style. That caught Anko by surprise. You wish to learn the Hyuga fighting style? But that relies mostly upon the Byakugan to target the chakra points. It will be similar with the same movement and strikes, but I plan to study the human body and all of its weaknesses. In the forest of death, I was able to send chakra to my hands and increase my strength to crush a woman's windpipe. If I can utilize my chakra in a similar fashion but like a knife to attack their internal organs, I should be able to copy their style. To say Anko was impressed would be an understatement. Isn't Kakashi your sensei? Why not receive help from him? He will no doubt take Sasuke away to train alone. Ah. Favoritism. Sakura nodded. Anko turned and headed for the door. Come see me in 3 days' time at gate 41. Then she was gone. Sakura stared after her in confusion before turning back to Sasuke. She leant down and rested her head on her arms on his bed. She blinked tiredly, watching him breathe. Slowly, she began to drift off to sleep. She was running through a forest. She ran as lightly as she could while in a panic. She instantly recognized the area, though. As she kept running, she found her former self lying broken on the forest floor. Ino? Her other self called. She went to move for her, but she heard Zaka coming. Terror washed over her as she watched him coming closer to her other self. When she turned back, she was no longer lying on the floor. Lee was. Sakura-san, he called. She turned back to see Gaara coming closer and closer. Lee! She yelled. She tried to run towards Lee, but instead her feet led her away until she was running in the other direction. Come back! I'm so sorry! I found you, she heard Gaara rasp. Lee! Sakura screamed, sobbing as she ran away. Sakura bolted upright, panting. She rubbed at her eyes where the tears had begun to fall. Does that make me just as bad as Ino? She heard struggling outside the door and stood from her seat. Drawing 2 kunai, she stood at the ready. The door opened and the 3 Anbu that were guarding the room fell in, dead. Her eyes widened in horror as she stepped back, closer to Sasuke. How pathetic. Anbu Black Ops, and yet they fell so quickly. Kabuto entered, a cruel smirk upon his lips. I knew it! You bastard, Sakura cursed. What do you want with Sasuke-kun? Orochimaru has plans for him, Sakura-chan, he spoke softly. Mockingly. I plan to kill him so that Orochimaru doesn't get to go ahead with said plans. Wait, so are you or aren't you working for Orochimaru? Oh, I am, Kabuto confirmed. But after the interaction I saw between your team, I don't believe Sasuke will seek us out. Or be trusted. Sakura raised her kunai higher. But what will you do, Sakura-chan? Kabuto taunted. Orochimaru is an S-class criminal. Knowing he plans to use Sasuke to bring down Konoha and grow infinitely more powerful, will you truly stop me when you should be obligated by the village to allow Sasuke's death when it could possibly save many lives in the future? That's not even a challenge, Sakura spat at him. I don't give a shit about the village and its false teachings anymore. If my team wanted to leave right now and never come back, I would follow them in a heartbeat. She rushed at him, swiping and stabbing, but Kabuto dodged so swiftly, it was no wonder the Anbu fell so easily. And if Sasuke chose to leave the village to pursue power alone? Sakura's hand tightened on the kunai. I will do everything in my power to help him reach his goal. Both Sasuke and Naruto. How sweet, he sneered. He appeared behind her, and she managed to duck under the slice he made at her neck. She swiped at his feet, but he was too fast. He stomped down on her leg, breaking it and forcing a cry of pain from her lips, but it was cut off when his hand wrapped around her throat. It's too bad you won't be around to help either of them. Fuck, she managed to rasp out. You. Kabuto's eyes narrowed on her. Let her go. Sakura's eyes slid over Kabuto's shoulder to see Kakashi. Only 3 Anbu? Kabuto asked. You should have left about 10. You're not an ordinary genin, are you? No fucking shit. Orochimaru, Sakura managed out before Kabuto's hands tightened, forcing her to wheeze. Release my student. Why would I do that? She knows too much. Plus, she makes the sweetest sounds while being choked to death. Fuck this guy. All the chakra Sakura had regained from her slight rest was concentrated to the muscles in her hand. Reaching up, she wrapped her own hands around his wrist before squeezing, snapping it in multiple places. Kabuto hissed and dropped her. Landing on her broken leg awkwardly, she felt the shock that stunned her. How did you? Getting her bearings, Sakura looked up, eyes darkened with cold fury. I won't run away. Raising her kunai again, she stood on her one good leg while the broken one hung limply. When Kakashi lunged for the distracted Kabuto, one of the dead Anbu rose, running for the door. Another Kakashi appeared before him, causing him to stagger back into the room. With both Kakashis focused on him, she sensed a sudden heartbeat from one of the other Anbu. Not knowing what was happening exactly, she went with her gut and dove for the other one just as he threw kunai at one of the windows. She managed to stab him in the calf before he leaped out of the broken window. Shit, he got away! Kakashi looked out the window, seeing no trace of him. The other Anbu that had been standing suddenly collapsed, as did Kabuto. She didn't understand exactly what happened, only that Kabuto got away. Sakura, are you okay? Kakashi asked. Slowly getting up, she hopped painfully to Sasuke's bed and sat on it beside him. Could you please find a doctor for me? She asked him. Kakashi nodded and left her alone. I'm sorry to bother you, but one of my students needs a medic to fix her broken leg. Naruto, having just walked in, instantly recognized his teacher's voice. He looked up to see Kakashi with a nurse. Her? Naruto asked, as he approached. Both Kakashi and the nurse turned to him. Did something happen to Sakura-chan? Don't worry, the nurse said to Kakashi. I'll have one of the doctors go up to see her immediately. Thank you for that. Kakashi gestured for Naruto to follow, and he took him back to Sasuke's room. When Naruto saw her sitting on the bed, he noticed the strange way she held herself. Sakura-chan, he exclaimed, moving to her. Sakura looked up in surprise before smiling at him reassuringly. Kabuto came, wanting to hurt Sasuke-kun. Naruto's eyes widened in surprise. Kabuto? Sakura nodded, sadly. I know you wanted to believe he was a nice guy, Naruto, but he was really working for Orochimaru. She placed a hand upon his shoulder. I'm sorry. Naruto shook his head and held her hand. Don't apologize. You have nothing to apologize for. He's the bastard that lied to us, working with that snake creep. Sakura gave his hand a squeeze just as a medic walked in. Once he took care of her leg, Naruto remembered another reason for his being there. Sakura, we need to train for a month for the third part of the exam, which is a tournament. He then whirled around to Kakashi. So Kakashi-sensei, can you? I know what you're going to ask, Naruto, so I've already looked for someone who will oversee both your training for the final rounds. But why can't you train me, sensei? I have other matters to handle, Kakashi stated. I don't have time to deal with you two. You're going to train Sasuke, aren't you? Now, don't complain. I found you an even better teacher than me. Well, who is it? A man entered behind Kakashi. It is I, Ebisu announced. You! Naruto screamed. Keep your stupid replacement, Sakura snapped, raising to her feet to stand beside Naruto. We will conduct our own training and find our own teachers. Such insolence, Ebisu scolded. Sakura glared at him. You don't know anything about us, so how could you possibly help us in any way? She snapped. No, we will find our own senseis since the man that was supposed to be our team's teacher has decided to play favorites. She grabbed Naruto's hand and dragged him out of the room. What are we going to do? Naruto finally asked once they were out on the street. She gave his hand one last squeeze before releasing it. I'll help you and you help me. I think Anko offered to train me, so you're welcome to join us. Anko, really? He yelled in disbelief. Sakura nodded. But I wanted to talk to Kurenai-sensei as well. Maybe she could help me with genjutsu and my own fighting style. Your own fighting style? Naruto wondered. It's like how the Hyuga fight, but because I don't have the Byakugan to locate the chakra points or the network, I'd use my chakra to attack the major organs and veins. That sounds brutal. She looked at him, concerned. But totally awesome. It'll be the Haruno style, he exclaimed excitedly. A smile lit up her face. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Naruto's face turned completely red and he turned away with a huff. And no problem. Sakura sat with Naruto at Ichiraku with the owner Tuchi watching with a smile. But her attention was drawn outside. As people passed and noticed them, she noticed the disgruntled and hateful stares sent by those passing by. She continued to keep her eyes out, trying to make sense of what was going on. Hurry up, Sakura-chan, Naruto spoke. Your ramen will get cold. Naruto-kun, Sakura began hesitantly. Did you do something to anger people? Naruto froze beside her, the noodles dropping back into the bowl. Why do you say that? Sakura looked away, back outside. Well, it just seems like there are a lot of angry people looking our way, and I don't know if they're looking at me or. It's not you, Sakura-chan, Naruto cut her off. His voice was low, his tone was sad. His eyes had dropped, and suddenly he lost his appetite. Naruto-kun, Sakura murmured. It's nothing, Sakura-chan, he replied, looking at her and smiling. But it was the most fake smile she had ever seen, and she hated it. As they walked down the street towards his house, she again noticed the stares and murmurs. Naruto's manner had changed. She noticed how tense he'd become, and withdrawn. It brought up the memory of a lonely whiskered boy who'd watched the other children with a sad look. As they reached the stairs leading up to his apartment, he turned to her. You don't have to come up with me. She raised an eyebrow with a hand on her hip. Naruto-kun, are you keeping me away for a reason? His eyes widened. No, it's just a mess. I don't care. Let me up. You're so pushy, Sakura-chan, he laughed and led the way. As they made their way up, she spotted the people in their rooms, watching from their windows. To be honest, it was getting on her nerves. Finally they stopped before a door and Naruto opened it. Sakura covered her mouth with her hand and held her breath. The smell of dirty clothes, rotten food and God knows what else assaulted her nostrils for that split second. Good God, Naruto, she spat. What the hell? Naruto looked at her in embarrassment. Sorry, Sakura-chan, but I did warn you. You said it was messy. Not infected with all kinds of diseases and fungi. Naruto entered. I'll just grab my clothes and go for a quick shower. Hell no! Sakura yelled. You're going to grab some clothes and then you're going to shower at my place. God only knows what your shower looks like. It's not that big of a deal, Sakura-chan. Naruto, please. Don't argue, just come with me. Naruto frowned but did as she asked. When he grabbed clothes, Sakura hesitantly sniffed them and gagged. They're the cleanest pair I have. You have issues, Sakura stated and dragged him to her place. Once there, she led him up and entered. I'm home, she called. Her parents came running, scooping her up in a desperate hug. Sakura-chan, we were so worried about you, Mabuki cried. It's okay, Ka-san. I'm here now and good news, I've made it to the 3rd round. We're just glad you're okay, sweetheart, Kakashi spoke, kissing the top of her head. Finally, Mabuki noticed the blonde. Oh, Naruto-san, right? She spoke, voice slightly strained. Sakura-chan's teammate. He's going to shower and rest here for a little bit. But doesn't he have his own place? Her mother questioned. There isn't a problem, Buki-chan, is there? Kakashi asked, patting the boy on the back. Kakashi, Mabuki scolded. Sakura's eyes narrowed. Is there a problem? Sakura asked. No, it's okay, Sakura-chan. I'll be fine, Naruto spoke up. Sakura caught his hand as he turned to leave. Wait, Naruto-kun, she stressed. He paused for a moment, and Sakura turned back to her parents. I don't know what people have against Naruto, but he's my teammate and he means the world to me, she stated. He and Sasuke both protected me when my life was in danger, as I did for them. They are my teammates, and I won't let anybody treat him as less than a person. Sakura-chan, you don't know what you're saying. Ka-san, she cut her off. I love you. I really do. But you're acting like he's some kind of monster. Sakura. Ka-san, I almost killed Ino. Mabuki recoiled in shock. You what? Sakura nodded to affirm her statement. During the second part, we had preliminaries. I was pitted against Ino and I almost killed her. She's still in a coma. But why would you? She left me when I called to her for help. She abandoned me when I was bleeding profusely on the ground. We were once best friends, but that meant nothing as she ran from me to save herself. But Sasuke and Naruto stayed with me. When I unconscious and bleeding to death, they treated my wounds and dressed me. They took care of me. She snapped, getting louder in her anger. Mabuki was stunned into silence. I love you both so much, but if you have something against Naruto, then I don't think I can live in the same house. Where would you go? With Naruto. What? Her parents and Naruto exclaimed. That's right, she nodded. I will move in with Naruto. Now don't be so dramatic, Sakura. I grew up, Ka-san. In that forest, I was forced to be vulnerable before my teammates, and they came through, and there's no one I trust more than my boys. I'm sorry, Naruto-san, Mabuki spoke, turning to the blonde in shame. What happened wasn't your fault, and yet I held you responsible. I don't blame you, Naruto shrugged. Everyone does the same. I'm used to it. Sakura-chan is right though. You shouldn't be used to such disgusting treatment. Can someone tell me what is going on exactly? What does the village hold against Naruto? Mabuki looked to Kakashi and they looked to Naruto. It's not our secret to tell. She looked at Naruto, who looked away. Moving on, Kakashi spoke up in a lighter tone. Once you two have a shower, there's some food still left over from lunch. I'm going to put Naruto's clothes in the wash, Sakura spoke. I'll come with you, Mabuki offered. Well, Naruto, my boy, let me show you around. As Sakura and Mabuki reached the washing machine, Mabuki had to know. Is there something more between you and Naruto-san? I know, Sakura answered, shaking her head. I just care about him a lot. I want him to be the best ninja he can be. And in return? Mabuki questioned. I don't want him to leave me. Oh, darling. That's why I wish to move in with him. Mabuki's eyes widened. You really wish to move out? Sakura looked at her mother. Ka-san, we had to live in the forest of death for 5 days. You can't do that and come out a child still. She turned to face the washing machine, her gaze suddenly sad. He's been alone for his whole life and everyone treats him with hatred. His place is a mess and he needs someone to fill in that hole left behind by his parents. He never had a family before and now he has us, his teammates. If I can help his smile become a little bit brighter, if I can make his day a little bit better, I will. She felt a hand on her head and she looked up to see her mother crying. Ka-san? You've become a lovely young lady, Sakura-chan. Sakura felt her own eyes watering at the affection in her eyes and Mabuki wrapped her up in a hug. If Naruto-san agrees, I will support your decision. Sakura nodded, still within her embrace. You know, your other teammate is the same as Naruto-san, her mother informed her. I heard about the Uchiha massacre but I don't know the details. That's something he will have to tell you. There are so many secrets, Sakura sighed. The blonde woman laughed at her daughter's exasperation. All men are the same. Naruto exited the shower, wearing one of her dad's shirts and pants from younger days until his own clothes were ready and dry. Sakura smiled at him, and he scratched the back of his head sheepishly as she had her turn in the shower. The moment the hot water touched her skin, she released a sigh and sunk down to the shower floor. It felt like a month's worth of grime and dirt washed away, revealing the shiny, new Sakura and seemed to ease the ache she'd gotten used to. She washed her hair, finding it incredibly easy now that it was shorter and let the water fall onto her face. As she got out and looked in the mirror, she couldn't believe how dirty she had actually been, seeing the afterlook. Quickly drying herself off, she dressed and went out to find Mabuki just putting out their meals. Wow, this looks delicious, Mabuki-san! Naruto exclaimed, eyes wide and practically drooling. Sakura giggled as she took her seat beside him. The two dug into their onigiri as if they hadn't eaten in weeks. It wasn't long before all the food was eaten and Sakura had to stop Naruto from licking his plate clean with a laugh. Once done, Sakura led Naruto to her room where she set up an extra bed on the ground beside her bed. Thanks, Sakura-chan, Naruto smiled. Anytime. She climbed into bed and groaned from relief. Naruto was right there with her, instantly blending into the blankets. She yawned and pulled her blankets higher, her eyes blinking tiredly as she watched Naruto drift off as well. Good night, Naruto-kun, she murmured softly, letting her eyes finally close. Naruto smiled at her though, his eyes soft and kind as he watched the pinkette who had changed for the better in his opinion. Never before would she have let him this close to her. Sweet dreams, Sakura-chan. There was a tapping at her door, rousing her slightly. The tapping grew louder the longer she tried to ignore it before her eyes finally blinked open reluctantly. She looked around before there was another tap and she looked over to her sliding door leading to the balcony. Sasuke-kun? Sasuke stood there, agitated for having been there for quite some time trying to get their attention without drawing her parents to the noise. Climbing out of bed, she opened the door for him, noticing the orange streaks in the sky. It was dusk. They'd slept for a good few hours. I went to look for the dobe at his house, but he didn't answer and I couldn't sense him, so instead I came here, he spoke, looking at the blonde asleep on the floor. Sakura sat back down on her bed, rubbing her eyes. I'll be moving in with Naruto-kun, she replied. It will make training together a lot easier. Training together? Sasuke asked. And what do you mean you'll be moving in with Naruto? Well, I haven't asked Naruto-kun yet, but I want to move in with him. Have you seen his house? He needs a woman to look after his messy ass. And yeah, training together, considering you will be off with Kakashi-sensei. Sasuke looked away with a frown. He can train me with. Don't explain, Sasuke-kun, Sakura stopped him. I understand why you want the training, but Kakashi-sensei needs to learn to be so blatantly obvious about his favoritism. What will you guys do with training though? I plan to go back into the Forest of Death, she answered. Plus I think Anko offered to train me. I'm not sure. You want to go back into the Forest of Death? Sasuke asked incredulously. Sakura nodded. It's the place that pushed me to be better and I hope it continues to do so. Plus the threat of death will probably encourage my training and growth. Sasuke nodded and seemed to stand there lost for a moment. Well, Kakashi's probably waiting for me. Sakura grabbed his hand. Be careful, she answered. And when you get back, maybe you could move in with us. Sasuke looked away pointedly, silent for a moment before replying. My apartment is better. With that he left, and Sakura was struck with confusion. What did he? That's asshole talk, for we will live in my apartment instead, Naruto replied offhandedly. Sakura looked to him in surprise. You were awake this whole time? Only for the last part of your conversation. Well, what do you think? Sakura asked. Would you want to live with me? Naruto looked up at her. Of course I do. The words held a lot more weight than what was actually said, and Sakura looked away with a blush. Would you be able to live with Sasuke-kun too? Naruto closed his eyes with a sigh. I'll try, but there's no guarantees. Sakura smiled at him and slipped back into her bed. Thanks, Naruto-kun. He winked at her, and they fell asleep again. The next time Sakura roused awake, it was almost midday the next day. While she had slept away the day, she couldn't deny how unbelievably refreshed she felt. She rolled over and found Naruto's bed empty. Sitting up, she looked around her tiny room, finding no trace of him. After sliding out of bed and leaving her room, did she find him at the table with her parents, smiling during their conversation. Ah, Sakura-chan, you're awake, her dad called. Mabuki and Naruto turned to her with smiles. How long have you been awake, Naruto-kun? He smiled at her. Only for about an hour. You should have woken me. Now that you're both awake, I'll fix us some lunch, Mabuki stated as she rose from her seat and headed to the kitchen. Sakura took a seat, rubbing her eyes. So what's the plan for today? Naruto asked. For you, we need to work on your chakra control, she replied. At the moment, you're wasting too much chakra performing jutsus that require only a quarter of what you use. But it still gets the job done, right? Sakura shook her head. Yes, but say you create 2 bunchins with a big burst of chakra. With that same amount of chakra, I could create 10 clones. Naruto looked down ashamedly. Sakura tapped his hand, like Sasuke had done to her when she needed the comfort. Just imagine, Naruto-kun, she began. Once your chakra control is refined, imagine all that extra chakra that will be left to perform other more powerful jutsus. He smiled at that, his eyes burning with determination. Will you talk to Kurenai today about genjutsu training? He asked. Sakura nodded, and it wasn't long before Mabuki laid out lunch. Before they began their training, they visited their friends in the hospital. Sasuke had already left, that was a given. But Sakura had stopped by to visit Lee and then Hinata. As she arrived, a tall and stoic man was exiting. He simply glanced at her and passed her off as something insignificant. She resisted the urge to loudly scoff at him in favor of entering Hinata's room. She found her sitting on her bed crying. Turning to Naruto, she had him wait outside and she knocked on the wall just inside the room. Hinata? Sakura called. Hinata looked up in surprise before wiping her eyes. Sakura-san. Are you okay? Hinata nodded, smiling despite her tears. I'm fine, thank you, she spoke softly. Was that your dad I passed on my way in? Sakura asked her gently. Hinata nodded, and from the way she wouldn't meet Sakura's eyes, she knew he was to blame for the brunette's tears. Whatever he said to you, ignore it, Hinata. Hinata looked up in surprise. How did you? Anything he said about you is bullshit. If it made you cry, she cut her off. You have no reason to be crying if he was talking about you. You may be quiet, shy, and prefer peace over conflict, but that isn't a bad thing. What's wrong with wanting to avoid bloodshed? Regardless, I know you will bloom into a strong, beautiful, respectful woman someday, and it will be on your terms. You will grow as Hinata wants, not what your father wants. Why, you really think so? Hinata asked. I know so, Sakura smiled. You care a lot for your friends and teammates, and I respect that. You may change physically, but I see no reason for you to change on the inside. You're already gorgeous. Hinata blushed brightly at the compliment, and ducked her head, unused to such praise. There was another reason I came here as well as check up on you, Sakura announced, drawing the other girl's attention back. My sensei has left with Sasuke-kun, and I was wondering if you knew where Kurenai-sensei is. Right here. Turning, she found said teacher entering gracefully. Kurenai-sensei, Hinata greeted. Good morning, Hinata. How are you feeling today? She smiled. Better than yesterday. The medics here are very thorough. That's good, Kurenai spoke, smiling at the heiress. When her crimson eyes turned onto Sakura, they hardened warily. You wish to see me? I would like to ask you to help train me for the third match. Of all the things she was expecting Sakura to say, that was not it. Her eyes had widened in surprise. Me? What about Kakashi? He's gone off with Sasuke-kun. Her eyes softened with understanding. You are the genjutsu specialist, she continued. I have a knack for genjutsu, or so I've been told. I do have a student left in the finals, Kurenai challenged. Shino doesn't care much for genjutsu or anything else unrelated to his bugs. He'll be training with his father, wouldn't he? Clever one, aren't you? There was another reason I wanted your assistance, Sakura spoke, looking to Hinata. I wish to develop my own version of the Hyuga fighting style. Hinata looked at her curiously. The G Gentle Fist only works for Hyuga's B because we can see the chakra network with our Bibyakugan and T-target it. Sakura nodded. I know. That's why I will be studying the human body to find every weak point it has and target that instead. I can already concentrate chakra to my arms and legs to increase the damage dealt with each kick or punch. I know you probably can help me, Hinata, because it's clan secrets, but Kurenai, you helped train her, you've seen how she's moved, and I thought maybe, if Hinata was okay with it, you could show me what you observed of her. Kurenai studied Sakura for a long time. She was accepting it as a negative when Hinata chimed in. I'm okay with it. The other two women looked at her in surprise. Hinata? Are you sure? My father never asked you to keep what you learned to yourself, and as a genjutsu specialist, you have sharp eyes. I'm sure you're more than capable of teaching Sakura-san the basics of the G Gentle Fist style. Hinata. And now why you finally have someone you can train in genjutsu. I know it upset you that no one in our team was proficient in genjutsu. Now you have some to teach your specialty to. Kurenai finally relented and nodded. Is there a specific place you wish to train? Sakura nodded. Enko told me to meet her at the Forest of Death. I think she's willing to help me with everything else. Enko? She was willing to take you under her wing also? Kurenai wondered in awe. Sakura nodded. Naruto will be with us because he doesn't have a teacher also. Kurenai paused. I heard rumors that Jiraiya the Toad Sage had returned. It may take some convincing, but I'm sure that pervert would be willing to take Naruto on. No. Sakura and Naruto blanched. After having spent so much time trying to track down this pervy sage as Naruto started to call him due to the description of him Kurenai had given them, it was all in vain? What the hell do you mean no? Naruto yelled. We spent all day looking for you. To be fair, it was Sakura's fault. She didn't want to believe that one of the legendary Sannin was a pervert, and so she avoided the onsens, only for him to have always been there when they finally checked hours later. That is not my problem, Jiraiya spoke, waving them off. Sakura bit her lip and thought. What if you were to get something in return? She asked. He raised a white eyebrow in curiosity. Oh? And what would I get? Well, we interrupted your research, right? Sakura spoke. I know I'm not anything special, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get you to reconsider. Now it was Jiraiya's turn to draw back in shock. Do you mean you're willing to? I don't understand, Naruto spoke, scratching his head. What are you talking about? Looking at her, he spotted the pink dusting her cheeks and the way her body had tensed up, but her eyes. They stared at him as if a raging emerald fire burned within. Jiraiya sighed. I can't do that, he spoke gruffly. That's not mine to take. But your measures of which you are prepared to take in order to help your teammate is commendable. I'll give him a go. Both jumped excitedly. Yes. We did it! Naruto wrapped his arm around her shoulder. Sakura laughed and nudged into him slightly. Thank you, Sakura-chan, Naruto murmured. Sakura smiled. Now, remember, Naruto-kun. He is strong, no matter what you may think at first. He and his other teammates are recognized all over the world as legends, and you have the chance to be trained by one. Don't waste it. Naruto nodded, determined. Gotcha. As Jiraiya led Naruto off to God knows where, he couldn't help but think to himself. She reminds me a lot of Tsunade. Perhaps if I ever run into that woman again, I can convince her to take another apprentice alongside Shizen. Sakura stopped by the library and grabbed out all the medical books on the human body that she could carry and managed to get them all the way home. Her mother sighed when she opened the door, finding the books hiding her daughter's face from her, and proceeded to take half of them off her. Really, Sakura, you're going to read books during the month? Mabuki asked. As the two Haruno women walked further into the room, Sakura explained her plan of attack for the month. Both her parents blinked at her in surprise. Wow, Sakura-chan, Kakashi began. That's stupid? Sakura wondered. Ambitious? Too hard? Amazing, Mabuki reassured her, surprising the pinkette. The blonde woman touched her daughter's hand affectionately. I know I haven't been as supportive of your choices, honey, but know that I have always been proud of you. Her hand raised and tapped her temple. You have so many brilliant ideas in here that you kept locked away, but we always knew one day you'd shake the world with your mind and knowledge. She felt another hand on her shoulder and looked over tearily at her father, who smiled at her sincerely. Remember, Sakura-chan, the world is what you make it. You will go far if you believe you can. Never limit yourself. Thank you, she choked out and wiped her eyes. Kakashi looked over at Mabuki. So a Haruno fighting style, huh? He winked. Mabuki rolled her eyes, but the pride never vanished from her smile or her eyes. Sakura-chan? The pinkette sat up suddenly, looking around blearily and seeing a blur of bright yellow and orange. And Naruto-kun? She murmured, rubbing her eyes. Once the sleep was rubbed away, she spotted the blonde smiling at her. Sorry to wake you, but Mabuki-chan called us down for dinner. She looked at him blankly as she processed his words. Called us? How long have you been here? What's the time? It's 7 at night, Sakura-chan. I've been here since 6. She frowned. Why didn't you wake me, Baka? You look tired, he shrugged. Sakura turned back to her desk that she'd fallen asleep at, the book open to show the respiratory system. She'd been reading for hours before the words seemed to blur into one, and she'd hit the hay. Leaving the book as it was, she stood from her seat and followed Naruto out of her room to dinner. For the duration of the dinner, she listened to Naruto going on about his first day of training with the pervy sage, and she knew she did good. She saw her parents sharing a look as they watched Naruto. When Naruto stopped his tale, they turned to her. Sakura-chan, have you thought about being a medic nin? Kakashi asked. With your chakra control, you'd be perfect as a medic, Mabuki added. Sakura shook her head. No, they have to stay out of the fight and hang back. I want to be right there with my team. Mabuki looked back at Kakashi. Not all medics hang back. Take Tsunade-sama for example. Tsunahu? Naruto wondered. Senju Tsunade. She's the granddaughter of the Ikadame and Jiraiya-sama's teammate. She's one of the 3 Sannin. Oh yeah, Naruto began. I heard Jiraiya going on about her at one point. It seems their other teammate already has an interest in Sasuke-san, Mabuki stated. Sakura's eyes widened. Orochimaru. Mabuki and Kizashi nodded. Tsunade-sama is the world's best medic and packs one hell of a punch, I've heard, Kizashi said, stroking his beard. I bet if you were to train under her, you could go a long way, Sakura-chan. It's certainly something to think about, Sakura murmured, looking at her food. The next day, she headed to the Forest of Death with a pack full of essentials and even one of the medical texts. Kurenai and Anko met her at the gate. Are you ready to begin your training, maggot? Anko asked. Sakura tightened the straps on her pack and nodded. Hi. Good. You will enter the forest and we will follow, throwing weapons with the intention to kill and maim. Try not to get hit, yeah? Despite the spike of uncertainty, she nodded and readied herself. Go! Sakura disappeared into the forest with the two women following. Leaves and branches whipped past her face, but the adrenaline had kicked in, numbing the small stings. The first kunai was thrown. Rusty instincts caused her to dodge a little too slow, receiving a cut to her left hip. She hissed but continued to run, sliding under roots, jumping on branches and flipping away from airborne kunai for what seemed like forever. Having dodged a kunai aimed at her head, it landed on the tree right in front of her, and the split second before she passed it, she noted the glowing blue wire seemingly attached to it. Chakra strings? Saving that bit of information for later, she just kept running. You're too slow, Anko's voice echoed around her. I'm honestly aiming to miss because you're such an easy target. Gritting her teeth, she sent chakra to her legs, picking up the pace. There we go, Anko cooed. After spinning away from a tree in her path, she found herself headed towards a particularly larger one. Gotcha now. Like hell you do, she cursed mentally, and with a slight adjustment of her chakra, she charged. Her foot connected with wood and she pushed herself as hard as she could up the tree. She heard 3 kunai pierce the thick trunk before she had to forget about it. Due to the improvised push-up, her feet weren't in the right position to connect and continue running. Instead, chakra flooded her hands and she grabbed on and flipped, so she was now running up the tree. Clever, the purple-haired Nin drawled. With the sudden change of surrounding, she had no other choice but to adjust to dodging up in the canopy. Less chakra was important, considering the higher they are on the tree, the thinner the branches. Too much chakra and she'll snap them. Having only just begun her training, she already noticed her waning stamina, as well as the fact that she had to use more physical finesse to maneuver about while up this high. That's pathetic, Haruno, if you're already getting tired. I've seen academy students going for twice as long. What the hell were you doing in school? That's dumb. Her anger flaring, her chakra followed, causing the branch to shatter beneath her. In shock, she fell. Her eyes were wide as she looked up from where she'd fallen, as if things were moving in slow motion. There was nothing for her to grab onto, and no tree close enough to push off from. Before a scream could leave her lips, a kunai was thrown, catching her shirt and pinning her to a tree. The sudden impact winded her and she gasped, struggling for breath. Weak. Sakura looked over to see Anko on a branch beside her, leaning casually against the wooden limb. Seeing her face, Anko huffed and straightened. Find a place to make camp and Kurenai will begin your genjutsu training. She jumped and disappeared into the leaves, only to have her attention drawn to another rustling noise. Kurenai stood by her, grabbing the kunai. Are you okay? She asked. Sakura nodded mutely, watching the red-eyed kunoichi. Why are you crying? Was she? She hadn't even noticed. Her hands raised to her eyes and she quickly wiped away her tears. She's right, Sakura murmured. I'm weak. Sakura. I wasted my time at the academy fawning over Sasuke-kun and slaving over my appearance when I should have been training. Kurenai pulled the kunai from the tree. The pinkette remained where she was, using chakra to stay connected to the tree before she allowed herself to slide down the tree to the forest floor. She looked up at the highest part, where she'd fallen from before looking away. My teammates are already leagues ahead of me, she murmured to Kurenai, unwilling to make eye contact. But I won't be left behind. I can't. I need them, and someday, I hope that they'll need me too. Kurenai watched as she walked away to look for a place to camp before turning to a particular tree. There was nothing special about it aside from the fact that it hid Anko from view. Don't you think you're being a little too harsh? It's what she wants, Anko shrugged as she stepped into view, inspecting a kunai. But what you said. Will only serve to push her harder, Anko cut her off, finally raising her eyes to stare dead into Kurenai's. A fire has lit inside Sakura. One that thrives on self-loathing. You saw it yourself. Seeing that Kurenai wasn't replying, she continued. The more confronting her weakness is, the more she's going to push herself to be better. She's stubborn and that killer instinct has been awakened within her. For her, it's kill or be killed. It doesn't have to be. But it is. What happened to her during the Chunin exams was a harsh lesson to learn, but she took it to heart, and it shaped her into the girl that stands before us now. I haven't a doubt that even her loyalty to the village was shaken. She lives for her teammates now. That's where the self-loathing comes from. Being unable to come through for them when they needed her most. If her loyalty is in question. What, are you going to tell Hokage-sama? Anko challenged. Kurenai watched her for a moment before shaking her head. What Sakura needs is people she can rely on. Unfortunately, that's where we come in, Anko sighed. Don't act so reluctant, Anko, Kurenai spoke, a smile pulling at her lips. You never know, you might take a liking to being Anko-sensei. Kurenai chuckled as she dodged a kunai aimed at her head. Sakura had a fire going by the time Kurenai and Anko joined her. So, Haruno, Anko began. Give me a little insight into you. Tell me what you want, what's driving you and why. I want to be strong enough to support my teammates, as you probably already guessed, she stated. Why? Because I'm weak. I know that already, Anko cut her off. Tell me why. You were always weak but only now you want to reach the same level as your teammates. Why? I don't know what you... Come on, Sakura, you know what I'm talking about. What happened that suddenly pushed you to improve? I wasn't enough. Sakura screamed, causing Anko to stop short of taunting her further. During the second exam, my teammates' lives were in my hands and I did little but distract those fucking otonin. Sakura had leaped up from her seat and began to pace before the two older women. I was always giving Naruto shit and acted like I was the best kunoichi out of my grade when in fact, I was the worst. She continued. Here in the forest, I was shown what I really was. Useless. Pathetic. Weak. You only just got out of the academy, Sakura, Kurenai spoke, trying to alleviate the girl's self-loathing. And yet I was no stronger than a second-year academy student. Sakura walked to the burning fire, staring into it vacantly. I allowed my vanity and intelligence to take priority, as if looks and brains would get me through, but not only did it almost get me killed, but my teammates too. At the time, I was suffering from rejection and abandonment when Sasuke woke up. He, of all people, comforted me. I'm not so blind as to see the way he avoids my affection and attention, but when I needed someone, when I needed help, he didn't hesitate to grab my hand, and I'm eternally grateful. Just as I am for Naruto, who takes my flaws and edges and leaps and bounds. Tears fell from her eyes and she was quick to catch them with her hand, wiping them away swiftly. They came through for me, and if I ever wish to pay them back, I need to improve myself. She looked back at the two women. That's why, regardless of whether you decide not to continue with my training, I'm grateful for what you've taught me so far and for taking any time to help me. There was a moment of silence before Kurenai turned to Anko, but she kept her purple gaze on the pinkette before her. This won't be a walk in the park, Anko stated. I won't be handling you with kid gloves. I learned that the fastest way to get stronger is when your life is in danger. Are you prepared to lay your life on the line for power? Sakura straightened and nodded her head. There is no such thing as giving up with me, Anko continued. Either you continue or you die. Understand? Another nod. You will receive a lot of criticism from the Hyuga given your desire to use the basics of their fighting style. That will make your life a lot harder considering you aren't from a notable family. Trust me, the clans aren't to be messed with. Sakura's eyes flickered, whether from her anger or the firelight. Either way, they seemed to glow amidst the darkened forest. I won't let anyone get in my way, Sakura murmured, a promise. Not even the most prestigious clan the village has to offer. Anko nodded and she looked upon her new student. Then keep your head held high, Haruno. You're my student now, and we'll make sure the village will know to fear you. Sakura smiled. It wasn't great. It was perfect. Alright, show me what your genjutsu can do, Kurenai spoke. Sakura nodded and performed the necessary hand seals. Kurenai kept her eye out for any disturbances but saw nothing. Anko sighed and stood. Okay, How about we show her what we can do, Kurenai? Kurenai looked at her, confused. What do you mean? If Sakura can have a taste of your genjutsu, she'd know what to strive for. Kurenai thought for a moment before she nodded, but as she went to move, she found herself rooted to the spot. Looking down, Kurenai found her feet trapped by snakes. Looking up, her gaze shot to Sakura, who had moved to sit and watch Enko and Kurenai fight. Enko. Ready? She asked with a grin and drew her kunais. Wait. Go! Enko launched herself at Kurenai. Her hand slid into the release sign. Kai! Enko disappeared from before her and was still in her spot, sitting against a tree. Her eyes drifted over to Sakura, who stood in the same spot as before. Well? Enko asked, almost bored. You use realism, Kurenai spoke. You used what you knew of Enko to replicate her in the genjutsu. Me, huh? Said woman asked. Kurenai nodded. You diverted my attention from yourself, and even used her snakes to keep me still. Sakura nodded. How did you keep the genjutsu hidden from my senses? I've found that this style of genjutsu uses the bare minimum, considering the fact that I'm not altering anything. You seem to know much about shijitsu. Have you used it often? Kurenai asked, impressed. Sakura blushed and looked away. I actually used to practice on my parents. Enko snorted. What? Nothing bad. Sakura was quick to correct herself. If my Kasen was having a bad day, I'd just cast a small genjutsu on her, making her hear my Tusan compliment her or peck her cheek lovingly. If Tusan came back from a mission tired and my Kasen was out, I'd have him see her welcoming him home and give him a massage. That's amazing, Sakura, Kurenai complimented. Sakura smiled softly. Unfortunately, it only works if I know the same people as the enemy. Considering Shijitsu Genjutsu is your specialty, we won't change it, especially since it is a rare practice in and of itself, considering it requires a strong mind and impeccable chakra control. It can be quite dangerous and had almost been considered as a forbidden art. Sakura's eyes widened in surprise. Why? It's nothing like other forbidden jutsus. Because with the focus that comes with the Shijitsu, one can also learn to influence another's thoughts, manipulating them. The Pinkhead's jaw dropped. Normally, this level of Shijitsu is only known among the Uchiha due to the Sharingan's relationship with Genjutsu, but I believe if you and I work on it, you might be able to reach it. Sakura looked at her hopefully. I'll do my best. Kurenai smiled proudly. Good. I'll give it my all as well. Have you actually used Genjutsu during a fight? Enko asked. Sakura nodded. Yes, here. It was after Sasuke woke up and fought the Otonin that attacked me. While Kin was distracted by Sasuke attacking her teammates, I cast the Genjutsu and had her see Sasuke turning on her. I made her think she'd ran from the clearing. I pulled her down, and where she saw Sasuke strangling her, it was actually me. Smart to use her fear of your teammate against her. Sakura smiled again. Alright, well, we will continue on Shijitsu. How long can you hold Shijitsu? 5 minutes, Sakura answered. Not bad, but that won't help you in a drawn-out battle. Meditation and increased chakra reserves will help with that. How about quantity? Can you affect more than one person at a time? Sakura shook her head. That might be a little harder, but if you can achieve that, that will help to speed up your training. Sakura nodded. Alright then, let's get to it. A couple of days later saw Sakura running through the forest again. You're slowing down again. Sakura resisted the urge to use chakra, knowing that if she relied too heavily on her chakra, should something happen to restrict her from using it like Hinata, she'd be helpless. Instead, she encouraged her legs to work harder, move faster. They screamed at her in agitation, but she was learning to ignore it and focused on her rapid heartbeat. Her undetermined route led her straight into a den of black tigers, highly aggressive and carnivorous. Do what you've got to do, Harino. Meaning Enko would leave her be to handle the beasts alone. The vicious animals bared their fangs, all attention on her. She counted 7 and her hands instinctively moved for her weapons. No, I wouldn't have enough time to take out all 7 of them. Sakura quickly scanned them before her hands formed the seals for Shijitsu. The biggest tiger shook its head before looking around. Its eyes landed on another tiger before it launched itself at it, tearing out its throat in a surprise attack. The others around it, turned to him instead, and Sakura quietly placed some distance in between them. Using the tiger to attack another, she managed to take down another two before the other four killed him. Quickly capturing another with Shijutsu, she took out another and repeated it until only one stood. While in a daze, Sakura snapped its neck, panting. She'd never used Shijutsu repeatedly, and the affects were hitting her harshly. She fell to her knees as a migraine stabbed at her brain like a saban. "You okay?" Enko asked, standing before her. Sakura nodded and looked up with a wince. Enko neither comforted her or helped her up, simply let Sakura stand on her own 2 feet. While cold, Sakura found herself thankful. Despite it only being a small victory to stand alone, it was her small victory. It must have shown to since Enko huffed and looked away, but a smirk played on her lips. "Go back to start on your taijutsu style with Kurenai?" Sakura nodded and turned back at the call of her surname. "You did good," Enko stated, arms open to gesture to the dead tigers. When Sakura made it back to camp, her accomplished smile hadn't faded. Kurenai didn't comment, only instructed the Pinkette in her stance. The Hyugas strike with quick jabs packed full of chakra that they release into the enemy's body, aimed at the chakra pathways, as you know. Despite attacking with their hands, they are able to release chakra from all of their tenketsu points, showing incredible chakra control. Sakura nodded, taking in all the information. "You will start by constantly striking this tree," Kurenai stated. "You will do so without chakra first, and once you get used to the new fighting style, you will slowly integrate chakra into it." Nodding again, Sakura moved up to the tree indicated to her as her target, slipping into the unfamiliar stance. "You will have to learn to get used to it." "I know. I will," Sakura assured her. Kurenai nodded her approval of her answer, and Sakura began to strike the tree with Kurenai calling out corrections and flaws. "Make sure to draw back your hands to your side. Keep your knees slightly bent to take any impact or be ready to dodge at any given moment. More force, Sakura. Keep your hand open and your fingers together. The tenketsu point in your hand is where the chakra is to be released from. We can't change the basics yet until you've mastered the basics. You're leaning forward too much, you're off balance." After an hour's, Sakura struggled to keep her arms up, and mentally, her mind fought against her continued strikes. There comes a point when your body just doesn't want to continue. Kurenai sighed and called a break. Sakura turned and slid down the tree, exhausted. "And Hinata does this day in, day out?" Sakura puffed. At Kurenai's nod, Sakura groaned. "Respect," she wheezed. The Jonin's lips twitched into a smile. "Can you tell me about the Hyugas?" Sakura asked. "What did you want to know? Are they all stuck-up pricks?" Kurenai actually laughed at that and allowed herself to relax. "No," she answered. "Oh. Just most of them." Sakura giggled as she started laughing again. "You won't get into trouble helping me, will you?" "I can't see how," Kurenai answered. "It's not like I know any Hyuga clan secrets. I'm just showing you what I've seen and telling you what everyone with eyes could tell you." "Thank you, Kurenai-sensei," Sakura murmured, looking up at the woman. "I know you were reluctant to help me, someone who could be seen as a rival to your only student left in the Chunin exams, and I understand if you wish to inform him of my training. I feel like that's only fair." Kurenai shook her head. "Even if I thought to do such, Shino has explicitly stated he wants no such handicap and told me that should you two face off against one another, he wishes to beat you because he was the better nin, not because I told him your flaws." Sakura nodded, her respect raising for the quiet Aburame. "I had never given it much thought before," she started. "But Konoha is made up of some amazing clans." Kurenai's gaze turned curious as she looked at the Pinkette. "You sound almost envious." "I am," Sakura murmured, softly. "While I can see that the heirs and heiresses are put under a lot of stress to succeed, they also had protection and power." Kurenai chose to remain silent as Sakura revealed a little more of herself than she had before. "My father is from a family of merchants and my mother, a traditional blacksmith clan. When Ka-san chose to be a kunoichi, she was disowned and my two San's family were assassinated by ninja from Kumo during their travels. He became a ninja to get revenge but met Ka-san, or so the story goes." "So there is no Haruno clan?" Sakura shook her head. "My parents had to work hard to give me the comfortable life that I live, and I'm sure they'd rather I not be a ninja, but I wanted to help people. I wanted to be like them." Her distant look turned into a scowl. Then I think of people like Niji, who look down on people like me who have no influence behind our name, and it pisses me off. You know, they are distant relatives of the Uchiha, Senju, and Uzumaki clans, Kurenai pointed out offhandedly. Sakura's eyes widened. There's an Uzumaki clan? They lived in Yuzushiogakuya, which was destroyed in the war. They were close allies to Konoha, and we integrated their mark into our village, on our vests, even now. Sakura looked down again. Even Naruto comes from a great clan. You have the ability to be great, Sakura, Kurenai stated. You just don't see it. You could be the beginning of your clan. Every clan had to start with someone. The start of a clan. A smile pulled at her lips. Sounds like a plan. Sakura slipped down into the Haruno style, eyeing Kurenai with a sharp, analytical gaze. Tomorrow was the day of the third exam. Kurenai had brought Hinata to see the final results. Kurenai lunged for Sakura, who evaded elegantly, ducking, dodging, and twirling out of the way. Hinata immediately picked up that Sakura preferred defense until she saw an opening. She wasn't using chakra, she hadn't put the two together yet. Not until the actual exams. The Pinkette would use chakra when practicing her strikes on the tree, but only to strengthen her blows, not increase her speed and duration. Not unless she really needed to. Honestly, her plan of attack was a good idea. She would perfect the basics of Juken during sparring matches with Kurenai or Anko before she thought to implement chakra into it. When it was just her and the tree, she familiarized herself with the feel of chakra in the strikes so that it wasn't such an foreign feeling. Her hair had started to grow, due to her heavy training, and was long enough that she pulled it up into a small ponytail. The Hyuga heiress could see the Juken but saw that Sakura had changed it to suit her, and instead of aiming for the Tenketsu pointed, she struck in different places, something any and all Hyuga would be caught off guard by when faced with their own fighting style. It seemed Sakura had also been training and learning where her Tenketsu points were because she always made sure they remained untouched. Sakura had done well, picking up what she could of the Juken in such a short amount of time. There were many flaws in it, but she had found a way to cover most of them. A hard strike to her chest sent Sakura stumbling back, and they called it a match there. You need to work on keeping your chest guarded. Sakura nodded, taking the advice and thinking of how she could have done better. It's still not perfect, Anko noted. But your genjutsu should help you along. I guess we're done here, Kurenai spoke. Sakura bowed respectively to Anko and Kurenai. Thank you for taking the time to train me. I'm grateful and... Don't think you're getting rid of me so easy, Haruno, Anko cut in. You haven't reached your full potential, and I intend to see what kind of woman you turn out to be. We will work out a schedule that works in between your time in the hospital and training with your team. Kurenai nodded. While I cannot continue training you, I can encourage your growth in genjutsu. You're welcome to come over to my place at any time to take a look at my genjutsu scrolls. Sakura bowed again, touched. Now let's get out of here, Anko stated. I bet you're dying for a shower. Sakura entered her home, finding her parents out. She hopped into the shower, washing all the dirt and grime she'd collected in the forest between now and her last soak in the lake. Her body was still a little sore, but yesterday had been a day to recuperate, so all should be well by tomorrow morning. As she stepped out, she changed into a new dress, only to find it too small on her. She had muscles where she didn't used to have them. She'd even grown a little taller, and of course, there was her hair. Keeping her shorts on, she raided her mother's drawer for one of her smaller shirts, finding a light green one. She headed out, intent on buying a new wardrobe. As she walked down the market street, she felt more confident. No one was looking at her, but knowing she was better than she was only a month ago had her holding her head high, but not the same as the academy days. As she walked past the Chiraku, she spotted a familiar orange-clad ninja. Smiling, she slipped into the stand to come behind the unsuspecting Uzumaki. Ayame had just placed down Naruto's bowl of ramen when she spotted the Pinkette. Soft, delicate hands came over Naruto's eyes, blocking his view. Guess who? Naruto's surprised expression softened to a smile. He hummed to himself. Let me think. Sakura giggled as she dropped her hands, and Naruto turned to her with his affectionate smile. She hugged him around the neck, noticing his hair had also lengthened, simply making it spikier. I see I'm not the only one whose physical appearance changed. He winked at her, and Sakura blushed as she slid onto the stool beside him. I hear you're going to be in the third exams as well, Sakura-chan. Sakura nodded, a proud smile on her lips. Well, in that case, what would you like to eat? It's on us. Sakura looked at Naruto's and he caught her gaze. Do you want to share mine? He asked. If you don't mind sharing. I'm not overly hungry, so I don't want a full one to myself. Naruto blushed and nudged the bowl to sit between them. Sakura grabbed a set of chopsticks and she shuffled a little closer to Naruto, and slowly, they began picking at the ramen, both red in the face. Ayam smiled at the adorable pair as they ate together. Even Tucci was looking at them from over his shoulder. There was the sound of someone entering the stand and they turned to see Sasuke there, dressed in a black bodysuit with his normal high collar. His hair had grown like the other two, his bangs reaching past his chin with the back spiking more than usual. You're back! Sakura exclaimed, surprised. He smirked and Sakura moved to him, hugging him around the waist. Come join us, she spoke, pulling him over to the seat on the other side of hers. While disappointed his alone time with Sakura had been interrupted, Naruto couldn't deny he was happy to see his arrival. I didn't think you'd get back until tomorrow, Naruto stated. Kakashi wanted to train longer, but I didn't think we'd make it back in time to see your matches, so we came back early. I'm glad you did, Sakura said, smiling. Sasuke nodded and another bowl of ramen was placed down between him and Sakura. Sasuke was confused, but Sakura smiled thankfully. Actually, do you have a really large bowl? We could put the two bowls together, and we will all share. But Sakura-chan. Don't be like that, Naruto-kun, Sakura teased, pouting to him. Please? He blushed and looked away. Fine. Ayam took their bowls away only to return with the massive one she asked for. The team dug in, but Sakura hung back a little, watching her two boys actually sharing something for once. Unable to rid herself of the smile upon her lips, she ate with them, rubbing elbows with both. Naruto was still red in the face and Sasuke was pointedly looking away as he ate, but neither moved away from her. If she had to be honest, she could have sworn both moved slightly closer to her, adding a little more pressure between touching skin. It was crowded, but it was perfect. Outside, Kakashi stood, watching them. Before she knew it, she was standing before her home. She turned to Sasuke, who just stood there, looking at them. Sasuke-kun? Weren't you going to move in with me? He asked. Grab your things. Both stood there, shocked. His gaze narrowed, glaring at them. Well, we don't have all night. Sakura started smiling as she backed towards the stairs before spinning around and running up them and inside. You don't have to come if you don't want to, though. Naruto glared. As if I'd leave you alone with Sakura-chan? What do you think I'm going to do to her? Take advantage of her? He scowled. Well, if anything, she might take advantage of me. She's not like that anymore, Naruto growled out. Both continued to glare at one another. You know I won't hurt her. Naruto said nothing. Just get your things, idiot. Naruto turned and went inside. It wasn't long before both came out with a bag. We'll grab the rest of our stuff later, Sakura said happily. Sasuke nodded and led the way to his house. Once there, Sakura took in the apartment. Wow. There were large glass doors that led to a balcony and a grand view of the Hokage faces. How can you afford this? Naruto asked. My clan's funds. Sakura paused. I heard about what happened to your family, but I don't know all the details. Naruto looked confused for a moment. You don't have to tell us, she continued. But I want you to know that we're here for you. Both of us. My older brother massacred my clan. Both his teammates' eyes widened in shock as Sakura cupped her mouth in disbelief. I was 8 and I came home late because I'd waited for my brother to pick me up. No one was around, but lights were still on. I headed for my house and found Itachi standing over our parents' bodies. At first, I thought he killed the attacker, but then he revealed that it was him. He used his newly acquired Manjikyu Sharingan and showed me repeatedly what he'd done for 3 days in the span of a couple seconds. So Itachi is the one you wish to kill, Sakura murmured. Don't worry, Sasuke-kun. We will help you kill him. Right, Naruto-kun? Naruto nodded, stepping closer. Any other secrets? Sasuke shook his head, but Sakura turned to look at Naruto. He pointedly looked away. Don't worry about it, Sakura-chan. It was Sasuke's turn to look confused, but Sakura kept her gaze on him. Naruto-kun, we're your team. You can tell us anything. Naruto shook his head and kept his eyes downcast. Sakura grabbed his hand and led him over to the bed where she encouraged him to sit with her. Sasuke removed the bindings on his arms and his legs and loosened his headband before he joined them on the bed, stretching out behind them. Naruto-kun? Sakura asked again. What did my Ka-san have against you at first? I don't want you to think bad of me, he murmured. Sakura drew back with an incredulous look. Naruto, you've seen me do some pretty bad stuff and yet you stayed true to me. You and Sasuke are the most important things to me. I will never turn my back on you, either can you do bad in my eyes. Not anymore. Naruto reached for his jacket and pulled down the zip. He then lifted up his shirt, revealing the seal on his stomach. What is that? Sakura asked, moving closer to inspect it. It's a seal. For what? Sasuke asked. The Kyuubi. Both drew back, unable to contain the surprise. What? Naruto nodded. I was born on the day the fox attacked and the fourth Hokage had chosen to seal the beast within me. It made sense. The hate, the anger and the fear of the populace. The glares, the stares and the harsh words. She remembered the sad and lonely boy from the start of the academy, watching with such longing and eyes so sad she had wanted to speak to him, but her mother had pulled her away. Naruto had been alone all his life with the scorn of the village, and there was no one for him to reach out to. She couldn't stop the tears as she pulled Naruto into a hug, and she cried for the lonely boy who no doubt suffered every day due to something not within his control. Holding him close, Sakura glared over his shoulder as she thought of the village. A village of deceit and blood, of loss and neglect. As Sakura-chan? Sakura pulled away and looked at him in a new light. No wonder he had rebelled as a child, especially when everyone ignored and scolded him. You are not the Kyuubi, Naruto-kun, Sakura stated, holding his hands. What happened was not your fault. You didn't deserve the way you were treated growing up, and I swear to you, I will never let someone do that to you again. You will never be alone again. I promise. Naruto looked to Sasuke, who only nodded, and he turned back to Sakura before pulling her back into his arms, burying his head in her neck. Her hands slid into his hair, and she whispered comforting words as he'd done once before for her. We're here, Naruto-kun. You never have to worry again. So the sleeping arrangement was Sakura and Sasuke on the bed with Naruto on the floor. To calm Naruto down, Sasuke put a couple pillows between him and Sakura, as well as sleeping above the covers while Sakura sleeps under it. While still not happy, his complaints internalized. It took them a while to fall asleep, but eventually, Naruto's breathing evened out before he started to snore. She heard a disgruntled sigh come from Sasuke and giggled softly. Baka, he murmured, but she suspected he was less annoyed than he portrayed. I wouldn't have him any other way, Sakura whispered into the night. Sasuke fell silent for a moment before he started speaking again. You and Naruto, you guys seem a lot closer now. Sakura looked over but only see the spikes of the back of his head over the pillow wall. We are, I guess. I think that was my fault, for keeping him at such a distance. He's amazing. HN. Just as you are, Sasuke-kun. He went quiet again and Sakura used the moment to come clean with him. I know what I said before, about us being there for you, probably holds no meaning for you, and I don't blame you for that. I can't imagine how painful and lonely it must be. Not to mention how much pressure you've placed on yourself to avenge your clan. But regardless of whether you want my help or not, I will do everything and anything in my power to help you achieve your goal. Just as I wish to help Naruto reach his. And what about you? Sasuke cut in. Are we to help you reach your goals? Sakura stared at the pillow with something akin to hurt. I know, she replied. All I want to remain by you too. Sasuke turned over and sat up to look at her over the pillows. That can't be all you want, he argued. Sakura sat up, her eyes never leaving his. I want to get stronger so that I can follow you too wherever you choose to go. My parents understand and they support me. I want to be a better person so that you don't cringe when I call your name, and so that I can finally rid that look of sadness from Naruto's eyes. I never want you two to feel alone again, as I never want to feel. Abandoned, Sasuke finished and she nodded. How can you help me? What? Sakura asked. You said you want to help me. If I were to look at this practically, how would you be of use to me? It stung and he knew it, but he couldn't take the words back. Sakura laid back down and turned her back to him. I will look at studying medical ninjutsu so that I can assist in keeping you two alive. My genjutsu is developing well, as is my own fighting style, so I can watch your back without you having to worry. I won't be weak, Sasuke. He noted the lack of suffix to his name, proving just how hurt she was by his question. Sakura, I didn't mean. Good night, Sasuke. Pulling the blanket up higher to cover half her face, she forced herself to sleep. She awoke for the 5th time during the night, shifting restlessly. Rolling to face Sasuke, she sleepily stared at the pillows for a moment, drifting off again when she felt hands raise the blanket and turned slightly to see Naruto standing behind her, on her side of the bed. Naruto-kun? She asked blearily. He gently pushed at her, urging her into the pillows before he removed them, revealing the silent Uchiha atop the blankets. What are you? Your restlessness is keeping me awake, Sakura-chan, he murmured softly as he slipped into the bed beside her. Sakura shuffled further onto Sasuke's side, leaving just enough space between her and his back. This bed is too small for 3 people, Naruto murmured from behind her. I'm falling off the bed. Blushing, Sakura pressed up against Sasuke's back. Hold on to me, Naruto-kun, she whispered to him. What? She could hear the surprise in his voice. The less space between us means we fit more onto the bed, she replied, trying to be practical. Oh, okay. If you're as sure. She felt his hands hesitantly reached out and wrap around her waist. Her face was burning. Naruto was spooning her. At her request. Your hair is in my face, Sakura-chan, Naruto grumbled, and Sakura laughed softly, allowing the tension to ease from within her. Shifting, she flicked her hair so that she was now laying in it, baring her neck to Naruto. As he settled in close to her again, she felt his breath on the exposed part of her creamy neck. Goosebumps rose on her skin and she pressed herself closer against Sasuke, her hands resting by her chest and touching his shoulder blades. Naruto drifted off quickly, and thankfully her presence seemed to have silenced his snores. In his sleep, he pulled her closer and nuzzled the crook of her neck, sending shudders throughout her body. Sakura's nails dug into Sasuke's back slightly and grasped his shirt, pulling it slightly as she buried her face into his back. It was awkward, being here like this with her 2 boys. But she couldn't deny the thrill that burned alight within her body. Sakura woke when Sasuke sat up. Her arms were warm and they tingled with previous contact. She must have reached out to him in her sleep. Her eyes spotted the arm by her head and sat up. Naruto's arm around her waist slipped off her, and she looked at him to see she had been sleeping on his arm. Sasuke turned to her, and it was the first time she actually caught a glimpse of him waking up. His hair was a mess, spiking up in every which way, and his eyes were heavy with drowsiness. He rubbed at his eyes, and she couldn't help but think of how human he looked. She'd always held him above others as some kind of invincible shinobi, but as he sat before her, rubbing at the sleep in his eyes, she realized just how wrong she was. He was just like her. Good morning, Sakura murmured, smiling slightly. Sasuke nodded and stood before shuffling into his bathroom. Sakura got up and moved to the fridge, finding only the necessities. Milk, eggs, butter and tomatoes. She raided the pantry and saw it was the same, containing only what was necessary. Sighing, she began to cook. Naruto awoke to the smell of food and his mouth was watering by the time he sat up. Sasuke stepped out of the shower then, releasing steam into the room. He, too, could smell food and walked out, Naruto dragging his feet behind him. On the table sat bowls of rice, eggs, fried tomatoes and toast. Both sat as she placed down a piece of salmon in the middle. Sorry, it's not much, Sakura spoke, taking her own seat. There wasn't much for me to work with. Itadakimasu, they said in unison before the dug-in. This is delicious, Sakura-chan, Naruto stated enthusiastically, scoffing down his food. Sasuke nodded, more reserved in his eating habits. Sakura smiled and picked some meat off the salmon fillet to go with her rice. I'm a little nervous, Sakura spoke, starting a conversation. I don't even know who I'm versing. What? Sasuke asked, looking at her. His eyes then turned on Naruto, who choked on his rice. Naruto, he hissed. Sipping on some water to wash down the rice, he turned guilty blue eyes on Sakura. What? She asked. I'm sorry, Sakura-chan, he answered. I totally forgot to tell you who you're fighting. Her jaw dropped in surprise. Because you and Sasuke hadn't been there, I drew for you too. I'm versing Kankuro, Sasuke's versing Gaara, and you're against Neji. Neji. Instead of being mad, she instead ran through different scenarios of her upcoming match.